Hockey's right around the corner. It's baseball postseason, and the NFL continues to march on, but can our TFC stay alive? Hello and welcome to The House That Happens, recorded live at Chewy's Bar and Grill, the only place to be in suburban Etobicoke, voted 4 times the best dive bar in all the GTA, and you know it's number one in our hearts. The Phoenix rising from the ashes, opening soon. Hi, my name is Andrew Milani.
Hi, my name's Cruz. How you doing?
Pretty good, Cruz. And before I ask you what you did this week, I just want to give us a little shout out, give ourselves a shout out for 2,000 downloads over Podbean, all of our pod networks. Yeah.
Oh, by the way, I have talked to the guy about the green thing. I'm just saying that we should, when we do it, well, we'll talk about it off the air. But anyways, we're going to have a live performance by Christmas.
Okay.
We're going to have a live performance by Christmas, letting everybody know. I want to thank everybody for taking the time to listen, but mostly I want to say hello to you guys on the street now that say to me, hey man, I heard your podcast, it was pretty good. Maybe they hit the like, I don't know.
Maybe. We had 93 downloads last night from California and China. I don't think it was actually from there. I think someone was spoofing their IP, but...
Okay, that could have been it too, you know what I'm saying? And speaking of the neighborhood...
either way, I'm happy.
Either way in the neighborhood, I live on a deadly curve in the middle of a nowhere neighborhood, and it was a horrible accident the other night. Young girl in a BMW took out 2 trees.
Ooh.
Critical condition in a 40-kilometer zone across the street from a school. Estimated speed at the time, we're not sure, very fast.
Very
I walked
fast.
my dog
Taking
there.
out 2 trees?
I took out one, managed the other, and these were maples. The city had to come in and take it out. BMW is no longer on the road. Anyways, it's just telling people, be safe out there. And I heard there might have been a couple of beverages involved. People, please don't drink and drive. People, it's your life. Know where you're going. We think with somebody in the neighborhood, but I'm just doing that out because we want everybody to get home safe every night.
Absolutely. We'll begin with our shout-outs this week. Cruz, you have any shout-outs?
First shout-out is I have to apologize because I love this guy so much. And now he's month to month. Our good man, Drew Doughty. I always thought he played for the London Knights. He did not. He played for the Guelph Griffins.
Guelph Storm.
Guelph Storm, yeah. What are the Griffins? That's the university team.
Yeah.
I just want to shout out because I love Doughty. I think the guy's amazing. I think he's going to put the pool table in his house that looks like a guitar because he's seen that Lenny Kravitz's house or something like that. Anyways, Doughty, the Guelph alumni, let's hope you have a quick recovery because we got the 4 Nations coming up, and that puts Marchand and Doughty on the fence due to injury situations, and we don't know how well they're going to be when that thing starts. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
One more little shout out too that I have to correct from last week. I took the time to shout out to the great Phil X. Mississauga Madman, shredder, seller of equipment, his own band, The Drills, but we now know he is the lead guitarist for Bon Jovi. What I was hyping him up as the most humble rock star I've ever known in my life. One of the reasons I was bringing it up is because him and his wife every year do jams. They take the money and they have open kitchens for the homeless people in LA. So 3 or 4 times a year, he stops like at Thanksgiving, Easter, stuff like that. And he gets his buddies coming in, and he gets some world-famous people in there, like Steve Lukather. I heard Nuno Betancourt showed up. But the fact is that a guy who's got everything he wants, having a great life, all positive, still takes the time to think that people are less fortunate for him. Big shout-out, Phil. Big shout-out.
Big shout-out. Big shout-out to the Humber Hawks, who last weekend their soccer teams both won huge. The men with the 13-0 victory last weekend, tying a program record. I was there to call it. It was a fantastic game. 10 goals in the first half. Kashishian scored 5 goals in that game, had a couple of assists as well. Then the women won 10-0.
Okay, so
they won, was it 7-0? 10? I don't know. Either way, they won big. And the women, they started off slow, 0-4, now a couple wins to improve their team. The men, they look like they're going to be champions again.
That's a good thing. You were talking about the girls last week, how they needed a win. That's a huge one. We'll talk about running up the score later, but I cannot believe in soccer that that's a possibility. But congratulations to the Humber guy. The place must have been going mental, eh? With that many goals, 10-1?
Nothing. Well, the men won 13-0, and the women
13-0.
Yeah. Tying a program record.
Can we talk about the school that gave up the 13 goals, or we should just not embarrass them?
What?
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, I know.
Okay, so we're Humber homies here. That's all I'm going to look at it. Glad you guys won, especially the girls.
Yes, it was the women did win 7-0, both against Lambton.
Oh,
yes,
okay.
We'll mention them.
Okay, sorry, Lambton.
And then the women, they They won their game after that the next day, too, against St. Clair, which was a very impressive one.
St. Clair Windsor?
Yep.
Wow. Okay.
One of the big rivals for Humber. And then baseball, softball, got to give them a shout-out. Both playing tremendously well this season. Don't look like they're quite the favorites for the gold medal, but they should be in the conversation at the very least.
Where are they playing? Up here at that field by Humber?
They play at Connorville by Lakeshore.
By Lakeshore, okay. That's a good park.
It's a very nice park.
Very nice park. Yeah, I'll have to come down one of these days so I can get my ass off the couch. But it's a long day for baseball, but we're going to get to that later.
Yeah, absolutely. Also would like to shout out Oscar Piastri. He's been Mr. 100% this season in F1. Has gotten points in every round, been in Q3 every race, and has completed every lap.
People that don't understand F1, and I'm becoming a scholar. I've got up to grade 8 in my training for F1 right now. That's an insane accomplishment. Insane. Just say everything that you say, that means that this guy has done nothing wrong except bounce off a wall a little here or there or have some bad pit stops. But outside of that, that's an outstanding number. So anybody listen to what Mr. Milani just said. That means this guy's done everything, every race. What more can you ask for? And not only that, we'll get to that soon, his team is in first place.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Would also like to shout out Gonzaga joining the Pac-12 for all sports in 2026. So the Pac-12 looks like it's coming back slowly but surely, although could there be some collusion on the rise with the SEC and Big Ten potentially merging into a super conference?
Okay, I smell all of this, okay? And the college games today are going to be good. By the time we get to midseason, we're not talking about some other things. We'll give more time to college basketball. But one of the things that weirds me out, because I went to the Big House when I was 11. So I've been watching college basketball college football a long time.
Yeah.
Sometimes I think these realignments take away from some of the traditional rivalries that has made the college football what it is today. Like the Red River Run, the Big Brown Jug, with Michigan and Minnesota plays for. But there's certain teams that are not going to play certain teams due to the realignment, and I think that takes away from the fans and the tradition. Like, you know what I mean? A certain team plays a certain team every year, and now they move to division. I forget who Texas is not going to play this year. I think it's Texas Tech, because they got split. That game's been going on for 100 years, all in the name of NIL and money. You know what I mean?
Because it has nothing to do with NIL, I don't think. I think it's just like the conferences looking, or these teams realizing, like, hey, if we go to these conferences, we're going to make a lot more money.
Well, I understand that.
Because, like, besides the Big Ten and the SEC, like, well, I mean, that's why the Pac-12 disintegrated, because they realized, like, what, we're not getting any money. You guys are getting this. And then the Big Ten and the SEC, they're bighorn. They're bigger than everybody.
Oh, I agree. But the Big 12 and the ACC has made strides. And what I like about both of those conferences is the fact that they're trying to maintain some of those traditional rivalries. Now, can they compete with those two leagues? No. Because what we're going to have, in my opinion, within 2 or 3 years, because it's going to be it's minor league professionals, if that's how you want to put it. Because this is where I say the NLI changes. South Dakota State does not have as much money as Ohio State.
Obviously.
Okay, so now let's do the math here. So I think when they do converge or merge together, if the Big Ten and the SEC do that, I think it will be an 18-team conference. That's what it'll end up, and they'll just kick off the teams that are no good.
Well, they're already like 18-team conferences, aren't they?
Yeah, but I mean, when you put them together, they're going to have 36.
I can see the talk is of a 40-team super conference.
That's insane. Now, I understand where they're going with it, but I'm going to say this. It's like when they talk about over in Europe, when you get that chance if you're a little team, when they were talking about the Super League.
Oh, you took the words right out of my mouth. This reminds me a lot of that European Super League.
Yeah, like, no, it's, you know what I mean? It's going to look good on TV when you're paying pay-per-view or TSN Plus just to watch the games. But my point...
Well, no, because like let's be real. ESPN and TSN, they're going to pay big money for these, so it's on their main networks.
I'm just being a smart ass. But in any event, what I'm saying is that let's not forget the small colleges and the rivalries. They're very important in college ball. So I see if they're going to have a big league, great. Because what they're going to do is they're going to probably expand to a 16-team playoff. And 10 or 12 teams will come from the main conference. And then the ACC winner, Big 12 winner, Pac-12 winner. That's why Gonzaga went over there, more for the money. Because Gonzaga's made it for years on college basketball on their program.
Yeah.
Like they're pretty high profile. But this means that your whole program goes there. Which is the other part which I've mentioned on the show before, which doesn't make sense. Why should the University of Southern California, who are in LA, women's softball team, got to travel to Rutgers in New Jersey to play baseball? Why?
That's where the conference is.
Well, like I'm saying, that's what I'm saying. So I think that probably what's going to happen, but I don't know what the minutia or the legalities or how they're going to set it up is. I think they're going to separate college football from everything else. And then they're going to go back. I've heard a couple of big old school guys say that because those rivalries are so important. Kids go to school. Nebraska's going to play Oklahoma, but Nebraska's not going to play Oklahoma anymore.
No, and I mean, there's kind of already precedent for this because for college hockey, they have their own separate conferences for that totally.
Well, that's what I'm saying, that they should do that too, because then you keep those rivalries. That's the number one thing, especially when you're a kid going to the college. You know what I mean? You're going to get drunk on that day because it's the rivalry game and it's a memory you're going to have for the rest of your life. I don't want to take that away, but as we can say, money changes everything. And one of the things that's keep getting louder and louder is how they're going to control the NIL money. Or is there no control? Let's just give the prime example. Is there any reason for Archie Manning to go pro in the next 2 years?
Probably not.
He's going to make as much money at Texas as he won in his entry league contract, probably into the NFL. That's
Although you can make the argument that, like, for his second contract, the clock starts faster for that.
But when you already got that much money in your bank account before you get to the NFL, ask Caleb Williams. You know what I mean? It changes shit. You know what I mean? So what it's going to do in some respects, and I hope it works in basketball.
Well, I mean, he's a Manning. He's going to go into the NFL when he's ready. Think about how many of those voices are in his ear.
Oh, he's got everybody. But let's just say this is 10 years ago. He's going to the NFL as fast as he can.
Sure.
Okay, but now that the landscape has changed, I hope it helps more for college basketball because we'll have more kids stay in the game, get better development, and be better players when they get to the NBA instead of being a lot of
NFL.
the
I guess NBA too.
Yeah. But what they're going to go. But the NFL, either you're going to make it or you're not. You know what I mean? Because it's another thing that you've talked about in the other sports. How many undrafted hockey players play in the NHL?
In the NFL, I don't know if I completely agree with that. I mean, we need to move on from the segment. But
okay.
We talked about in the CFL before how many, like, these guys, you can make an argument, a bunch of them could be on NFL rosters, but just the opportunity isn't there.
True, but there's how many undrafted players in the NFL right now? I'm shocked. Every time I get on TV, some guy's playing here undrafted, which just tells you the whole scouting thing is a shot in the dark anyway when you go to look at it. But we'll have to wait and see. We'll keep our minds on it here at the house.
Yes, and we will move it on to our favorite team in double blue, the Toronto Argonauts, who stunned us all with the win in Montreal last weekend. Win against Montreal here last weekend, 37-31. Chad Kelly, 19 for 30, passing 287 yards. One interception, 35 yards rushing. Toronto defense still looking a little shaky, but they managed to score a big 37 on Montreal. I think you take that dub.
Oh, 100%. And this is their opportunity because who do they got today?
Nobody. They're on a bye week.
Oh, yeah, they're on the beat. But what do they got left? We already looked at it. Ottawa.
At Winnipeg versus Ottawa and at Edmonton.
And I'm thinking now that Winnipeg's starting to look like the best team in the league.
8 wins in a row after
there you
last
go.
night.
And they have a shot. I looked at their schedule. They could end up being a 12-6 team. However,
for a team that started off, 2-8, 2-6 or something?
Yeah, they've really come back. The funny thing is the BC Lions got their ship set up nice. They had a nice win last night.
Against Calgary,
Yeah, and Horton looked very, very good. But I don't understand the West.
Nathan Rourke.
Nathan Rourke. What did I say, Horton?
Horton.
There's so
That's
many.
The hockey player.
Yeah, but in any event, when you're looking at these at the CFL, which we won't be talking about, we'll talk about to the Grey Cup. But one of the things that surprised me is when I look at the West Division, like let's go back to say the middle of July. We couldn't say Edmonton and BC in the same breath, and they were within 2 games of each other last night. Now I think BC might have righted the ship, just like the Argos might have righted the ship.
Yeah,
because this was a huge win.
Well, Edmonton lost big to Winnipeg, and then Hamilton lost to BC. So I think that pretty much puts them out of playoff contention.
That's what
Edmonton's 5 points back.
Oh, they're not going to make it now.
No.
But the fact that everybody came back to Edmonton is what really surprised me. The thing about the Argos is if they don't tighten up that secondary,
they're screwed.
We could be done. But anyways, they could be doing the same thing. They could edge against Ottawa. They got 2 out of 3 possible wins. I don't think they're going to beat Winnipeg in Winnipeg.
That's going to be their toughest game. But, I mean, if you get the win against Ottawa and then if you get the win in Edmonton, you can probably take that number 2 seed.
I'm thinking so because Edmonton's got Montreal. I mean, Ottawa's got Montreal and who else? They got a couple.
Yeah, they got to go to Montreal. They got to go to Toronto, and then they play Hamilton at home. So it's a tough schedule for them.
Well, anyways, we'll keep our eye on it. Good luck to the Argos. Let's just say this much. Of all the controversies we've seen this year, the Argos are not hurting because of Chad Kelly. I'll tell you that. He had a great game. He looked good. Yep.
And then Calgary is set to miss the playoffs for the first time in 20 years.
Is it that long? They looked terrible last night.
Yep.
They looked absolutely terrible. That happens. You're going to miss it eventually, right?
All good things must come to an end,
There
as
you
I'm
go.
told.
There you go.
We'll move this over to Toronto FC's roommates, Toronto Argonauts roommates, Toronto FC.
Why?
They got a draw at Chicago. It was a crucial game. They got only 1-1 the score in Chicago. And then on Wednesday, they lost big to New York Red Bulls 4-1 at home. And then they got Miami today at home to close out the season. Must-win game.
Must win.
Philadelphia is below them, tied on points with a game in hand. But their last game is until October 19th. So we're going to be hanging on a thread till then to basically know how the playoffs are going to turn out.
I'm going to completely dismiss them if they lose today. I'm not even going to give them the time of day. Like, come on. This is the Toronto FC.
And you're going to be playing a lot of Miami's, like, B squad, basically.
There you go. So you should be able to win. But my thing is like I say, when you're a franchise with the resources that they have, the fan base they have, the city that we're in, a great team a few years ago, what the hell happened? They're almost they're not unwatchable because the games do have some kind of drama to them. But the fact that Toronto FC is in this position is pathetic, in my opinion. And I don't even want to give them the time of day. I've been trying all year. Remember a couple weeks ago, they're going to do this. They go to the Champions game. They're going to be this and that. What do? Fell flat in their face.
Yeah, they've been hanging on to that number 9 seed. Not even the home spot of that play-in game the whole season, basically. And I should also add, DC United is also tied below them with the game in hand, also playing on the 19th. So 2 chances for Toronto FC to get knocked out. And one of those games that DC plays against New England, and they're pretty bad.
So I'm going to look at it this way. Let's put Toronto FC to bed. If they don't win today, I'm not giving them the time of day for the rest of the season. I'm trying to prop up a bunch of losers. Come on, guys. Should be better. But in any event, and we're not even, and we talked about this off camera, we're not even going to get Messi here.
No.
Messi's not coming, or the big guys. So what is the MLS doing when they're trying to promote their league, get more eyeballs to the thing? Toronto, one of the biggest markets in North America. I understand. I keep hearing.
Well, you're also resting. It's the last game. You want to rest players. Miami's number 1 in the league.
Oh, I know that. They're probably going to make the run. Okay, and Messi's resting. But the fact is, I'm just talking from an aesthetic point of view. This is Toronto. You're trying to get more eyeballs to the table. I mean, they're gonna have a big crowd anyway. I heard they're coming down though because it was the corporate numbers. People aren't showing up for the season tickets. A lot of them. I don't know if that's true. But if Messi came to town, come on, they'd have to move to the Dome.
Well, they wouldn't do that.
No, they wouldn't. But I mean, they could probably sell enough tickets to the Dome.
Oh, for sure.
What do you think? They get 40,000 in there for Messi?
Yeah, I think so.
I think so too. But that's enough, Toronto FC. Win today, and we'll give you the time of day. If you don't, I'm going to have one of those bags in my pocket that I use when I walk Stanley, and I'll pick you up and dispose of you the same way.
I agree. We'll move this over to our European soccer reports. We'll move it across the pond where there was a bunch of shocking things that happened this week.
Yes, there were.
Antoine Griezmann, number 1, announcing his retirement from international football, the French star playing for Atletico Madrid. That came out of left field, especially considering that he's still like what?
He's 30s.
Early 30s, around my age, basically.
Wow.
But the one that really got me was Alvaro Morata. He was AC Milan's big pickup this offseason, was doxxed by the mayor of a small town that he moved into. Basically, the gist of it was the mayor puts up a thing like, oh my God, we're so happy to have this guy. Puts up the guy's like house and address there for everyone to see. Morata writes back, hey buddy, like you completely cost me like my family's privacy and safety. And then the mayor, who's an Inter fan, Milan's big rival, just posts ciao ciao with the Inter shielding colors.
This guy should rot in hell. Like, there should be some decorum, especially at a level like that. He's a politician. He's a mayor. He knows how significant it is to maintain your privacy, especially when you're a public figure. This is like lower. I mean, I've heard compared, especially on the line from our good man Kevin Pick, who said it's the Dan Campbell of situation. Yeah. But it's completely different. You had some crazed fan do something stupid, shock the Detroit city because everyone says, why is this house for sale? But we know why now. But the bottom line is, for a guy of his stature, you're the mayor. You're not some keyboard warrior sitting in mom's basement seeing you cause a little bit of shit. You're the mayor. It's complete disrespect. Just for that, I hope Inter loses a bunch of games just to shove it up this mayor's ass. One of the worst things I've heard of all year, when we talk about the absurdities of the year in our year-end show, that's going to be in my top 10.
Yeah, this mayor knew exactly what he was doing, this fucking douchebag.
Oh, I can't believe it. You know what I mean? I hope they get hit by a windstorm or something. I can't believe that on this level. Like, let's go to hell. But and speaking of things that are weird to me, I had his name down here. You can help me out. Where is it out there? Something happened in the over there in the league that caught me off guard because I didn't know about it before, but we're always talking about performance-enhancing drugs.
Oh,
Pogba.
Yeah, his
What's
sentence
going
got
on there?
reduced to 18
How did
months.
that happen? Guy had 4 years. He went from 4 years to 18 months. That's very good behavior. That's like what?
But Juve is undecided if they're even going to bring him back after this.
Oh, they're going to bring him back. He's a good player. He's still young. Was he 20?
Well, he's whatever, going to be 30s by that, like mid-30s by then. So, like, I don't know, and you go 18 months without playing football. If I'm Juventus, I wouldn't be in a rush to bring him back.
Well, let's get him on the training field and see what happens. What's marveled me about the whole situation is you got a 4-year ban for performance-enhancing drugs. What were you taking? Human growth hormone.
Well, I mean, I think we can agree the 4-year ban to begin with was a little ridiculous.
Harsh. Yeah. Okay, I agree. I agree with that. But all of a sudden, out of nowhere, it's 18 months. Guys in the crowd cheering with his fans and all that. So he'll be able to play by spring, right? Definitely eligible by the start of next year.
I think he'd be eligible by like in a year from now about.
Les, I heard it's a spring.
Is it? Okay.
It's a spring. One of the things, though, that when you're talking about the games, I'm just going to, before you do your review, one of the things I've realized about soccer in Europe is this. They only play so many games. The season's a little bit shorter. I know they have Champions League and they have internationals, they have friendlies, and that adds
cup matches.
And cup matches, which adds a little bit more to it. But the fact that they have a condensed schedule tells me they respect the players. You know what I mean? Like, they could extend it. Like, what is a 40-game schedule, 38-game schedule?
Usually, so if it's a 20-team league, you play 38 games. You play each team twice.
Yeah, so
Bundesliga, they play 34 because there's only 18 teams in the league.
Okay, yeah, so I got that. So that should be enough to do it. Why do they could add another 10 games to get a bag load on. I know there's weather, logistics, and all that. But I respect that about them because then when these guys go play internationally friendlies, then they're not burnt out.
Yeah, and I mean, the problem is, too, you have like all these other competitions. So I think the way it is fine. I think
they
understand that.
Yeah. I mean, that's just something that I realized when I'm looking at the schedule. When they're playing Champions League game, and I'm saying, why are they doing this in the middle of the season? But the way they break it up is pretty cool. You know what I mean? It shows more respect for the players than they would in the NFL going to 18 games, or the NHL with 82, and basketball with 82. The last 20 don't count.
Yeah.
Or not 20, but I mean, like, let's take 10 off. I always think that it should be, when I was a kid, it was a 72-game schedule in sports. I thought that was perfect. I wish they would go back to that.
I've said it before on this show.
Yes, let's go back.
72 games or thereabouts.
If you haven't figured out by then, you're just beating us with a stick.
Yeah. So we'll do a little bit of a roundup. So Cole Palmer became the first player in Premier League history to score 4 goals and a half of a Premier League match in a 4-2 win over Brighton.
Scored goals in any possible way, but we'll discuss that later.
Yeah, and all the
he had 4 goals,
and they were all spectacular.
All good goals in all different scenarios. Didn't he get a header too?
Believe so.
He got a header. Yeah. He did the deke. He did the free kick, and then he had the penalty kick. Wow. I was impressed.
It's like the Lemieux scoring the 5 goals 5 different ways.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. No, big shout out to the guy. Great player.
Yeah. Another first for the Premier League. Brentford became the first Premier League team to score in the first minute of 3 consecutive games.
That's an insane stat. Like, I understand in soccer, how do you score in the first minute? I don't know. I guess
just get going, I guess.
3 times.
3 times in a row.
Once I see 2, 3, shout out to that, man.
I don't think a small team as well, like Brentford.
Yeah, exactly.
Everton got their first win in a 2-1 victory. They were down 1-0 to Crystal Palace at home, but they came back to win that one. Steven, I know you're happy. Takes your team out of a relegation spot for the time being.
And they were supposed to have a better season than they did. They're just having a bad start. Is that what they're looking at?
Could be,
yeah.
They have the English national as their goalkeeper, right? Palmer. Or not Cole Palmer. What's his name? I'm blanking now. Pickford. Calvin Pickford.
There's a goalie that got hurt, isn't it? Isn't it the Spanish national team goalie got hurt? I forget what club team he plays for, but a big goalie got hurt this week. But continue.
Manchester City settled for a 1-1 draw at Newcastle. That was a bit of a surprise.
But after they already went and played Champions too.
Doesn't matter.
It's just weird how they go to Champions League. Like, that's Barcelona, that's Man City. Who else had a fall down? Go, continue.
Tottenham won 3-0 at Manchester United. Manchester United continues to be
messy.
At the very least, it's been a rough last few seasons. Yep. Inter won 3-2 at Udinese, so I guess you'll have to wait next week for your revenge. Juventus won 3-0 at Genoa in the game without fans that we discussed.
Yes. Wasn't that weird?
Yeah, it was very weird. That happens in soccer once in a while, though, where the fans get too rowdy and they're like, okay, go in the corner,
It's a timeout, right?
Yeah. Essentially.
Notice what team it was?
Genoa.
And who is they playing?
Juventus.
Ah, okay. I know enough history to understand why those people weren't in the crowd.
Genoa?
Both teams.
No, but it was the Genoa fans that got in trouble.
That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
But look who they're playing, so they're going to get twice as rowdy. Aren't they?
I think it's just a timing thing. Like it was just like, hey, your last match you did this, too bad.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm all about that.
Last place, Cagliari stunned Parma 3-2 in Parma.
Yep.
Our boy Jonathan David got a hat trick. Lille at Le Havre. It's his second hat trick of the year.
God bless him.
And his second hat trick against that same team in the same calendar year. The last one came in February.
Wow.
Yeah.
Good. God bless him. Good Canadian boy. I'll
Absolutely.
take that every time.
He had another goal, too. We'll get to that a little bit later. Yeah. Barcelona stunned 4-2 at their loss at Osasuna. That game, they were just behind the 8 ball the whole time, and then it was just a matter of too little, too late. Yeah. Real Madrid got the 1-1 draw at Atletico Madrid, their big rivalry match.
Yes, huge.
Bayer Leverkusen got a 1-1 draw in Bayern Munich. That was a big surprise. The two biggest teams in Germany going at it.
Yes.
Moving on to Champions League, Barcelona came back, slapped Young Boys 5-0.
Yes.
Showing that the Young Boys are still a little too
young.
They're young
boys.
Yes, they're young boys.
But that's what blew me away. Barcelona looked that good, and then they play later, and they go, what? You know what it was? It's a hangover, or whatever you want to call it, but continue.
Well, on the home and away factor, too. They were home for Champions League, right?
Yeah.
Dortmund blasted Celtics 7-1. Karim Adeyemi, a hat trick in the first half of that match.
I seen all the goals. It was great. Can we just say something, because we were talking about the Humber thing earlier? One of the things that I got about this game when I was listening to the commentary, and I will never understand this as long as I live, the Celtic team turned into little bitches at the end. Like I'm talking about, I heard them saying shit. I go, what? How do you run up the score in soccer? That's just inconceivable to me. Play defense. You know, like have to stick up for your goalie. Like, I mean, you don't run up the score in soccer. You take shots, see what happens. You let in 7, that's your fault. Shut up and go home. Get better. But I'm very disappointed when I heard complete unsportsmanship. Very unsportsmanlike. Yeah. Continue.
Arsenal best PSG 2-0. PSG, their Champions League curse continues, it looks like.
Arsenal looks like they could be... The Gunners could be okay.
Nah, they always look good in the first half.
Okay,
they're the traditional number 2 team.
I like their uniforms. Am I bitching about uniforms? I like their.
Why? Because they're the Habs colors.
I didn't say that.
Leverkusen slipped by my AC Milan 1-0. It was a good game.
Are they a good team? Lewin
Leverkusen. They won the Bundesliga last year.
Oh right. Okay. Yeah.
Against Bayern Munich. That ain't nothing.
That says enough. Yeah.
Inter tops Red Star 4-0. Man City dominates Bratislava 4-0 at Bratislava. Aston Villa topped Bayern Munich 1-0, so it was a very rough week for Bayern this week.
Yep.
Aston Villa could look like one of the teams to
sleepers
beat this year. Yeah,
that's what
definitely.
The soccer critics in the thing. I'm glad I got a couple sites to look at it, but they seem to be the team that everyone's going.
Yeah, they're peeking their heads up there.
They're getting people's attention, which is good. Good franchise, traditional franchise. So
Lille bested Real Madrid 1-0. Our boy Jonathan David getting the penalty shot goal in that game.
Yeah.
Benfica surprised Atletico Madrid 1-0. Juventus got a 3-2 win at RB Leipzig. That was a tremendous game. Despite their goalie, Di Gregorio, getting a red card in the 59th minute, they fought back to get that win, really clawed in there. So that will take us to our goals of the week.
For a second, isn't Benfica a traditionally great team in Portugal?
I mean, I get in Portugal, yeah. Them and Sporting are the big ones.
Sporting are the big ones in Portugal, right? Yeah, because I know a lot of guys I used to work with. I'd always hear about Benfica. Benfica this, and then I never see them. Well, why aren't they here? Why aren't they here?
Economics.
It didn't go down well with Portuguese when I brought that up. Okay.
That's a complete shock to me.
Well, I didn't know what I was talking about. I was just saying, what happened to your team? You know, not knowing nothing.
You just get some growls. Like,
oh, yeah, you know what I mean? And guys would just look at you. What do you know? I just know the score, buddy. You lost.
That'll take us to our goals of the week. So I had 12 goals highlighted this week. So Cole Palmer's free kick versus Brighton. McNeil, the long shot, Everton versus Crystal Palace to put them ahead. Belotti had a nice little goal. Como versus Verona. David, his 35th-minute goal. Havertz, 20th minute goal. Trossard, the Arsenal PSG. That was a nice header. Çalhanoğlu had a nice free kick goal. Jordi Schutten had a nice goal in Champions League this week. John Duran, the goal Aston Villa versus
great
Bayern.
Goal.
A nice end-to-end goal, and he shot it from outside the box.
Yep.
Salah had a beautiful goal for Liverpool against Bologna in Champions League.
Got it. That was my honorable mention.
Yeah, but my top three.
Hold on. Okay, I'm not going to let you get there because you're the expert and I'm not. So before we had the production people, I'm going to tell you this. I try to find the goals myself. But when you look at between the championships and the 5 leagues, that's a lot of research to figure it out. So what we have decided to do, which is cool on your part, you give me a list and you say, think of these goals. So I actually took the time this week to go through all the guys that scored the goals, and I have the personal Cruises Chaos rating system.
Okay.
So what I've done is all those goals, for example, the guy that, who did you just say? Jonathan Duran. That was a nice goal. I only gave it a 6. Okay, so, and now I'm going to just say the 2 goals that got my attention was that guy from Dortmund. I don't even know how to say his name. The Afro guy,
Adiyemi.
He scored a goal, so I'll give him honorable mention, and I'll give Salah of Liverpool. His goal was great. Honorable mention. So now give me your top 3 and see how close I am to you.
My number 3 was Adiyemi. The goal Dortmund versus Celtic was a beautiful strike from the far end of the box.
Unbelievable. But like I said, that was my honorable mention. And he scored 2, didn't he?
He had a hat trick.
Or hat trick, yeah. He had the first hat trick.
That was the nicest one, though.
Yes, it was.
My number 2 was James Justin, Leicester City at Arsenal. It was a shot outside the box.
I thought it was okay. I'm not saying it was pedestrian. I only gave that a 6.
Okay,
I thought it was a good shot. But then I'd seen so many of those shots, I said, okay, because we're going to get to mine because the other guys. Okay, give me your third.
And my number 1, Conceição, 82nd minute, Juventus at RP Leipzig. Dance into the box, around defender, beat the keeper low left.
Okay, so I'll start with number 3, 2, and 1.
Okay.
Number 3 is, how do you say that guy's name? Kind of whatever.
Conceição?
Not only that, it was a game winner.
Yes.
What, the 75th minute? Made a great move.
82nd minute.
82nd minute, yeah. So I gave him more credit because the game was close and he pulled the game in and made a great move. That's my number 3 goal of the week. My number 2 kick, if you want to talk guys scoring outside the box, was that Cole Palmer goal. That's the one that got me.
The free kick?
No, the free kick one. That was like amazing. Like did you see that curve? Like
it was a beautiful goal.
That was number 2. That's what I thought was my number 2 goal. The power on the shot. Like he just turned around and he just looked around, put out a cigarette, let it rip, and it was in the top corner. Beautiful goal. But my number 1 goal is McNeil. The long shot. Yeah. That was even more shot. Where did he shoot that one? From 40 yards? Like that was a rocket.
Well, maybe not 40 yards. Probably closer to like
30. It had to be, and it was outside the box.
Yeah.
And he came down on it. And
curled in nice.
Oh, it was, to me, and then like I said, that doesn't take away from the other goals, like you were talking about Salah's goal from outside and stuff like that. But I just seen these guys from the distance, the power, and the accuracy. That's what really killed me. Like when this McNeil guy let it go, looked like it came out of a cannon. It just, whoa. I watched that one about 3 times, and it was great because as I was going through it, it was the second goal that I started at, and I rated it at an 8. Because I said, okay, what's going to be better than this? I had to get my own thing because I'm learning about it. So I started at an 8, and I went from there. No disrespect, because your list was great, and I think every week you should send me a goal like that. And people, there's sites out there. If you got nothing to do, you're having a beer, it's in between intermissions, go and look. It is a beautiful game, and those were beautiful goals.
Absolutely. So we will move this along from our soccer segment to the President's Cup of the PGA.
Oh, boo.
The USA won. Cruz, I'll let you take over this segment. This is your
okay,
wheelhouse.
So here's what happened, okay, people? We were down 5-0. So essentially the tournament's over. If you know anything about the President's Cup, they just did this because of Tiger. Like the Ryder Cup's been going on since freaking Ben Hogan and all those guys, right? Bobby Jones, whatever you want to call it. The President's Cup is a little differently, but the thing is that blows my mind is when you look at the rankings for the world, and you look at the rankings for all over the world, you realize that a lot of the guys in the President's Cup teams are just as ranked equally as some of the European guys. So what's the difference? So here's what happened. We're down 5-0. We come the second day and we do something that we've never imagined and score 5-5 and make it a 5-5 game. Now, word around the campfire is the Americans after 5-0 yucked it up. All the guys were saying all you could hear is from the American Pavilion till very late into the evening, these guys were having fun. So maybe what happened on day 2 is they took it for granted. Little tortoise in the hare situation, they came back. So then when it ends up happening on the Saturday, we lose a couple of tight matches. We're not as tight as it is. So now we're going in. We're going to need 3.5 points for the Americans to win the President's Cup. And you know there's 12 matches on the final day. They start off with Schauffele blows the guy out of the water. Who was it? I can't remember. Could have been Jason Day, one of those guys. Blew him out of the water right off the top. By the time we get to the fifth match, we got Keegan Bradley, who's a little bit of a, his history was he didn't like the Cup in the beginning because he always thought, these guys are my enemies. Then he learned to be a team player, and he actually was the one that got the putt to win the President's Cup. So after 4 matches or 5 matches on a 12 Cup game, it was over. It's like watching the Stanley Cup Finals, and you're going into the third period, and the team's up 5-0. So I didn't watch the rest of it. It was a gallant effort by the president, the international team for the first couple of days. But the power of the Americans just bitch slapped them to the curd. Scheffler was doing good. Scheffler was doing good. Scotty Scheffler was doing great. All the boys played well. Wyndham Clark played very well. The big shout out is this. The whole world was watching, and this was in our country, and it was in Montreal, and all the things that I say about Quebec, let's take away for a second. The fans were amazing. A great show put on in Montreal. We should shout out to that, even though we got our ass kicked. So we'll wait again for another 4 years and see how badly we get beat again.
That's all you got to say about it?
What else are you going to say when you got your ass kicked? You know what I mean? Nice try. I wonder if anybody brought any orange slices to the internationals before the thing.
Some juice boxes?
Something, you know what I mean. In any event, it wasn't the event that I was hoping would be going into the weekend.
No, maybe not, but we'll move this along to the NBA, where, first of all, we will pay our respects to Dikembe Mutombo. He died at age 58 to a battle with brain cancer. Worst
cancer on the planet. Mutombo, I don't think he's a Hall of Famer. However, we'll always know him for the finger wave. He was an ambassador for his country.
Was it the first number 8 seed, led Denver to the first number 8 seed victory in the first round of the NBA playoffs?
There you go. So the guy, and his respect around the league is tremendous. And the outpouring when we lost him, condolences to his family and all. I always liked the guy. He was a little bit whatever, no offensive skills whatsoever. But don't go into the paint with him there.
No.
And a lot of old-time players will say they would have taken him on their team at any given time. God bless him and his family.
Absolutely. Also, the purple is back with the Toronto Raptors. The Vince Carter arrows with the purple in the front, the black in the back. And I'm excited. I'm going to buy one of these right away.
Okay, so am I. The question is, what are we going to put on the back?
For me, it's either Barnes or Barrett.
I don't know. I might do something ridiculous.
Go with Cruz,
Yeah, Cruz might be good, but I'm also...
59?
Yeah, for sure. That's probably the number one. But I'm thinking of doing something like a Stoudemire or I don't know, somebody else crazy.
I didn't even know if Stoudemire wore those jerseys though.
Yeah, he did.
No,
because he was the first draft pick.
Yeah, but those were the ones with the Raptor on the front though. These are the next generation jerseys.
Oh, that's true too. So that was the Vince Carter, Tracy McGrady era, right?
Yep.
I don't know what I'm going to get back.
Those guys.
Yeah. Oh, maybe I'll get a Mo Pete on there. That would be cool. But in any event, I love those uniforms since day one. I understand the color change because once Vancouver got out of the league, there was only one team in Canada, so let's give them something.
No, that's still lame. They should have kept purple.
All the way. At the House That Happens says, screw that shit. You're a club team. Let's go for it. We're in Toronto. You think that anybody in Fort Francis, BC gives a damn about the Toronto Raptors or the colors that they wear? That was our city. It was unique, the name and everything.
Well, now they have fans all across the country. So.
Oh, yeah, they do too. But I'm saying it was unique. The Raptor name came out of nowhere. That was unique. Then they had the color scheme, which was unique. And then what we do, we acquiesce to everybody else saying, oh, marketing can go this way. Toronto Raptors, 30th anniversary. Huge shout out to the purple uniforms. I can't be happier.
Absolutely. Also, Masai Ujiri made comments that the Raptors are rebuilding, so you might have to eat your words a little bit.
I am going to be the number one defender of the Toronto Raptors this year, and you're going to see why. Our coach, Rakovic, I'm going to have to learn to say his name.
Let's call him Darko.
Darko, okay, Darko. Defensive guy. We've got guys that are all in their mid-20s that are not hitting their peak. I'm predicting that they're going to be the Houston Rockets of the NBA this year. Because remember last year when we started, I brought up the Rockets. Yeah. They didn't quite get there, but they were competitive all year. I'd like to see the Toronto Raptors make that move.
Who's our defensive stopper, though?
What's that?
Who's our defensive stopper?
RJ Barrett's gotten better defensively. Quickly can play defense. Scotty Barnes can play defense.
I wouldn't put him in that category.
Poto can play defense. We got the kid, that first-round draft pick. Too bad he's hurt because he's a good defensive thing. But we're going to have to see what scheme they play, who they go into. Scotty's going to be the main man. I'm expecting Graydon Dick to show up this year.
Grady Dick.
Yeah, I'm expecting him to show up. Do you see the size of him since last year?
Bulked up.
Big time. And he's going to get his shot down. That'll open up the floor. That's going to be key.
Well, we saw major improvements throughout
down
the season
stretch.
last year, yeah.
So, I mean, and he was a kid coming in. He didn't get enough time at Kansas. But I'm going to be more optimistic than Masai.
Okay.
I just think that Masai's a realist. Right down to him saying that.
Well, he's also doing the keep everyone kind of like their opinions, or not their opinions in check, but their expectations in check, you know?
Well, that's just how real he is. When he even talk about retiring the Vince Carter number, he even mentioned the fact that there might be some people having say and some say, but let's look at the history of the team and put it that way. Very diplomatic approach by Masai that was done very, very well. I like Masai. I'm just going to wonder.
I love Masai.
I'm just wondering, now that Rogers owned the whole thing, Rogers don't like
Ted
Masai.
Rogers, yeah.
Don't like Masai. I wonder what's going on. So we'll have to see how that plays out.
Yeah, it's going to be very interesting. We're obviously going to keep an eye on the NBA as the season continues to approach. But for now, we'll move it on to their sister league, the WNBA, where the New York Liberty is on top of the Las Vegas Aces. 2-1 in their series. New York took the first two games. No WNBA team has come back from 2-0 down in a series.
It's got to happen the first time. Did you see the game last night?
Yes, Vegas really turned up in the third quarter.
Oh, they mowed them down with Stewart, Asia Wilson, and the girl with the crazy hair. I'm going to have all their names down by the finals. I think the Aces could pull this off. If they win the next game, they're going to win it.
I think New York's going to take game 4.
You think so?
Yeah.
Okay, well, bet a beer on it. I'm taking the Aces. After that, you got to look at it. New York's got to be licking their wounds because the first game, New York took it away. They down the stretch, they put Vegas away. But the second game could have went either way.
That's true.
Could have went either way. That was a tight game. One of the best games I've seen all year in the WNBA. However, I'm looking at the Connecticut-Minnesota series. I'm thinking that's a little bit more competitive, and I'm leaning towards Minnesota.
And that's I picked Minnesota. I'm going to stand by that. But what do you think of the Minnesota coach talking to the Connecticut players after game 1? Do you hear about that?
No.
She kind of said they were she didn't like the talking and the chirping, but I thought that was offside. Like you go to the other coach to talk about that. You don't go to kind of step over her and go to the players. I thought that was really unprofessional.
Well, we're talking the difference between genders, so I'm just going to
No, it's not. It's not a gender thing. It's a professionalism thing.
Well, she wasn't very professional.
You got that right.
It looked like a hen fight to me. That's what it looked like. And I you know what I mean? I remember now because I turned it up. Now that you're telling me about it, I seen the commotion they were showing on it. But that's two very good teams. I'll take Minnesota now. That's your pick. The games have been highly competitive. They've
all been tight, yeah.
Yeah, all been tight. So the games are on. I think we're going to get a game 5 with Vegas. I'm not sure about. We got the bet on it. We got the beer on the other one. I'm not sure because it's very competitive. But I just want to put this into the big picture situation. When you see these teams playing now, people remember they did get 975,000 fans watching the game.
Close. So Aces Liberty game 1 had 929,000.
And that's
but that's 27% higher than game 1 of the finals last year.
Okay, so that's put my point in the Caitlin Clark factor that people kept their eyeballs on the game, which is great. But if you're really watching and you're watching the quality of play, just remember this. When you see them teams, you know why Indiana is not good far as they did. People remember Caitlin Clark got drafted by the Indiana Fever because they were the worst team in the league last year. Do you think they're going to make a jump as far as they made a great jump? Okay, for their first season. But the thing
mid-season, they made that jump.
Yeah, and they'll probably be good for next year because they maybe get another good pick in the draft.
Well, and a whole offseason of Caitlin Clark, too, because she went right from college to the WNBA without any rest.
And end of story. So I'm saying it bodes well for the future. But my point being is this. As great as that girl is, there's 5 or 6 girls in this league that are much better than her at this point in time. And all you have to do, especially when you watch the Vegas, New York, because I still believe the winner of that's going to win it all. You know what I mean?
Agree.
I think Minnesota's going to show up.
Sure, or Connecticut.
They're going to show up. But
the
bottom line is, it just reminds you like of any team because we're looking at it differently because we don't put as much time into the WNBA as we say the NHL, NBA, and all those teams. But always love the young kids that are going to move the game along. But remember, it takes time. You know what I mean? It takes development. They got to work on this kind of stuff. So when I see these other teams play, Indiana did not belong on the court with either 4 of these teams that we're seeing in the semifinals right now.
No, but the history of basketball is like you have to really build it up. Like Jordan didn't win his first championship till year 7?
Something like that. There you go. That's what I'm talking about. Interesting note that we didn't bring up about the NBA. It's come out for sure now that Golden State passed on Bronny James as a courtesy to the LA Lakers. It's finally come out. Everybody was saying about
good for them.
Oh,
what a nice move.
Stop it.
Aren't they so kind?
Why did they even bring it up then? So what? Were they getting brownie points here? Stop it. Okay. And anyway, it was a nice gesture, but if all the speculation was there. I hate speculation, allegations. Tell the truth. They did. So what?
Yeah, whatever. We'll move this along to the NHL, where we're very excited. We're gonna have a full preview show coming on Tuesday night. We originally said Monday. It's gonna be Tuesday now. It's this crazy offseason, or crazy preseason, I should say, just continues. Only one team is left without a captain now, as Clayton Keller got named the first captain ever of Utah HC.
Congratulations to him.
I think that's a great choice.
Yep.
Also, Columbus, it's officially announced that they will get cap relief for Johnny Gaudreau, which, we all saw coming, but, it was a little bit of a weird thing. You don't really want to talk about it in the moment, obviously.
But it's a professional thing. It had to be done. I'm just saying that as tragic and as sad that this is, I'm glad. You even see in Prague, the pregame, they had a dedication to the Gaudreau brothers. It was absolutely beautiful. We're going to have to live with this a long time. It makes me so sad understanding why. Yeah. But the fact that the people are putting them up there the way that they are, let's not forget their memories. That's all I'm saying, because it's a sad thing. Oh, and by the way, Jaromir Jagr was God at that game. That guy couldn't do it.
Wow, how can he not be God in the Czech Republic?
Oh, yeah. And Patrick Ilias was there on the sides looking cool as cool.
Hasek too?
I didn't see Hasek. Okay. I didn't see him around. Probably he was in the crowd somewhere. Or he could be out drinking. We don't know. It's Hasek. But there was a couple of things that we're talking about. We're going into that I think, because we're going to do our preview in a couple days. But a couple of things that came up that we talked about off camera that suddenly have been coming up a couple times. One of the things that comes up and then people go, whoa. When I was a kid, this used to happen all the time. And tell me your perspective on this. Doesn't matter if you have a power play with 4 forwards. Do you have to have 2 defensemen?
Now it's just better. Everyone kind of plays that umbrella style. So you only have really one guy at the point anyway. So why wouldn't you want to load it up with offensive guys anyway? So why not put 4 forwards?
Well, I seen Buffalo do it 3 times on the power play last night.
What, 2 defensemen?
No, 4 forwards.
Everyone plays 4 forwards now, though.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah. But one of the guys are saying, should we go back to the umbrella type thing? I said, whatever.
No, they do play umbrella, though.
Well, however they go about doing it, and they were giving a little graphic on the screen. I didn't even think that was a subject matter when the guy brought it up.
I didn't think that was
when the guy brought it up about it. Yeah, the guy brought it up about what is the pro and con against it. I say I put out my 5 best guys, umbrella like you say, and let's see what happens. Like what I heard when I brought it, that's why it piqued my ears. I said, what are we talking about here? What is this something new?
Bizarre comment.
Yeah, caught me off guard. I almost texted you when I heard it because I rewound it 3 times just to hear what the guy said. What? 4? What? So what? You know what I mean? I've seen how many times we're going to see it. I don't think it was an anomaly, so I don't know what it was up. I actually thought...
the opposite of the anomaly. It's a norm.
Well, I looked at it this way. I thought it was a very poor performance from the broadcasters, which were the New Jersey guys. I thought they were terrible for the whole game. They were absolutely terrible. Homers all the way, even though they're...
not to talk too much smack, but a lot of these local productions for the LAs, the New Yorks, their broadcast crew isn't anything special.
No,
there's some exceptions. Dave Randorf is a Tampa Bay broadcaster. I think he's great. Yeah.
I hate the guys in Boston.
One of them's gone now.
That's true, too. I wanted to bring up something else that we were talking about when we were talking about kids coming all the way up, and you were saying that sometimes it's a little bit strict on the discipline. Well, I say once over 14, I like the suit and tie stuff, which brought me to thinking like this. Why did Buffalo bring Lindy Ruff back? Because he's the interim to see what they're going to do. Because they know that tells me.
I was critical of this move.
Okay,
as you know.
Okay, and I understand that. So what is he bringing? He's just bringing old school discipline. What does he have to offer at this point in his career? Great coach, never won anything.
No.
Okay, and he's there. So when I see him behind the bench and I'm seeing him there, I'm just saying this is Buffalo's already telling you we're going nowhere. We got a guy that's developing the team and we're giving them discipline, but we're not going nowhere. Which gives me, when I get my preview, you know what I'm going to think of Buffalo, okay?
Sure.
You know what I'm saying? But that's an interesting pick. I wonder, interesting thing as a coach, but don't you agree at this point in his career and where Buffalo is, this is like a stopgap or a way station?
If you were going to go back into the, the quote-unquote scrap heap, Why not go for Ted Nolan?
Because Ted Nolan is persona non grata by most teams in the league, which is a drag.
He's a better coach, though.
Oh, I wouldn't say. He's coaching college now, isn't he?
I'm not sure where he is.
Well, he's working.
Well, I told you that game I was at in Buffalo, people had a sign like hire back Ted.
Oh yeah, no doubt about it. But that's a management thing. Like whatever.
Ownership, yeah. Well, why do you think Lindy Ruff is back?
Thank you very much. There you go. Anything else you want that's got your mind?
Yeah, so I mean, Leafs Habs stuff last weekend. So Laine and Reinbacher got injured in that preseason game against the Leafs. Laine going down in a knee-on-knee from Pear, who's a minor leaguer with the Leafs. Thankfully, Laine won't need surgery, but he's likely going to be out 2 to 3 months. Laine took responsibility for himself, putting himself in that situation. The Leafs had to shut down Pear's social media because of the onslaught of abuse and threats, which...
Okay, I think that's unnecessary, but I'm gonna say this.
Laine said Pear reached out to him, which he appreciated.
Okay, I like all of that, but I'm gonna go back to that, and I kept it on the game, and last night I rewound the play again. I'm gonna say I think it's a very class move by Laine to say, hey, this happens on the ice. I'm gonna go to this thought, and I'm gonna take it to the bank. Perry was flat-footed. Number one thing, and I said this last week about all players, is when you get beat, don't stick out your knee. He was getting beat. What did he do? He stuck out his knee. Unfortunately,
it was a bad move, but I wouldn't call it dirty.
No, I don't think it was completely dirty, but it was a bad move, and you have to answer for your bad move. Like, that guy's not making the team, okay?
Well, we all knew that.
Okay, so that's what I'm saying. So now we're going to get to one of the more...
Arbor-Xhekaj jumping him?
I can't wait to get an Aber-Xhekaj jersey, by the way. That's my first buy. I'm buying an Aber-Xhekaj. Okay, he didn't take his gloves off. The guy knew he was coming.
And he punched him in the back of the neck. That's Todd Bertuzzi-like play over there.
Okay, but Todd Bertuzzi was a little crazier than Aber-Xhekaj.
I don't care who's crazier. I'm just talking about the actions that happened on the ice. He jumped him from behind, punched him in the back of the neck.
He faced him face-to-face first. The guy had the chance to square off, and he turtled. And then that's when Aber-Xhekaj lost his mind, which I'm not going to say, I'm not going to condone.
Shouldn't it be someone more in his weight class going after him?
Well, we're going to see on Wednesday night what's going to happen. We're going to have a pay-per-view. Don't worry about it.
Okay, you worry about the fight. I'll worry about getting the win.
Well, we're going to win anyway, but you don't tell me that's going to be coming up there. Like, we're not even going to mention names. Come on, we're hockey. This is NHL. Then when Aber-Xhekaj hit Stuzzle on Ottawa, I don't think... Stuzzle. I watched that play again. He didn't wing him. I seen 8...
He stuck out the chicken wing, though,
I don't think he did. He was his shoulder...
Cruz, you can't tell me he didn't when he did.
I'm not sure.
You watched the play 500 times. Watch it 500 more times, because clearly you missed it.
No, he was going in and
then he stuck out the chicken wing.
I don't know.
No, he did. Don't tell me you didn't.
I don't know.
Come on. Use your eyes.
I did, and I'm gonna say this much. He got more for his reputation than the play.
What do you mean more for his reputation? He didn't get suspended.
What?
He didn't get suspended.
Because it wasn't vicious. It wasn't vicious.
Oh, come on.
It wasn't vicious.
But if it was a regular season game, he would have gone suspended.
Well, we'll have to wait and see.
Which is ridiculous.
Because I seen about 6 or 7 plays like that in the game last night. Okay, with Jersey and Buffalo, I seen the same thing. What happened was the guy got him more in the chest, and I think that's what they were trying to do. When those guys dipsy-doodle through. But I'm not going to talk about it because I do want to advocate this. I'm not into goonism on hockey. You know that.
Then why are you hyping up the pay-per-view on Wednesday?
Because we know it's coming.
No, you're hyping it up, though. You're part of the problem.
Okay,
you're talking out both sides of your mouth.
Okay, I'm just going to say this. You know it and I did it. We're not saying names. I'm just going to say something's going to happen. I hope it doesn't. That's what I'm saying. But I'm going to predict right now something is going to happen because we know the participles involved in the game.
Sure.
I hope it's a clean game. I hope it goes end-to-hand. Both teams looking good. The way they've restructured their franchises, we're going to figure that out. So let's just hope for a good game. However, I'm sticking up for my boy Aber-Xhekaj all season. I'm glad he's on our back end.
Okay.
That's it.
Be happy that you have him then.
Yes.
The thing I found most ridiculous, though, was that the suggestion that Xhekaj wasn't suspended for jumping Pear because there wasn't an injury on the play.
That's stupid.
I think that is stupid. It's another common L for Department of Player Safety.
Well, as you are the master of telling them how ridiculous that player safety situation is.
Some Habs bias by George Peros.
Oh, stop it. Now we're going to get ugly about this. Listen, part of the NHL is hitting. As long as we can keep it on a level play.
That's not part of the game, though.
No, I know it's not, but I'm just saying this way. We're gonna do our preview, and then we'll talk about things after 10 games. That's how I'm looking at it, because I'm going to say we're not going to know what's going to happen. If you looked at the scorecard last night, it looked like Buffalo was a better team. They outshot them. But I seen the game. Yeah. That doesn't matter. There was a lot of empty shots. Jersey was clearly the better team. So, but we don't know.
Hold on. We're not done with the Leafs yet. With Leafs and Habs yet.
No, we're not done.
So, also the thing about, like, pair... The thing I heard that I didn't like was that if you're a guy fighting for a spot, you shouldn't go hard at NHL guys, which I think is a catch-22 because you're fighting for a job.
I think that's the most.
You got to play hard. Like, you got to show up with the same energy every game.
I'm on your side on that. When I heard that come up, I just said, well, how does a guy make the team?
Exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, let's just talk about the history of teams making it, okay? The most famous one is Terrell Davis, who was on the cusp of making the Denver Broncos. They weren't sure, okay? Did you see that special teams hit that he did? It's a classic play. He was a gunner on the team and just smoked the guy. So that so impressed the team that they put him on what he made the last cut. The rest is history. Yep. What if he wasn't trying that hard? So I'm just saying, like you're saying, this Perry guy was not supposed to be trying as hard as he can?
Yeah.
Stop.
I think it's ridiculous.
I do too. So the house that happens that says anyone that brings that up and says, you're a professional, you go on your field of sport at any particular game, and you're not giving it your all, then stay in the locker room. Isn't that how it's supposed to be? So how are we going to be able to grade these guys? Oh, let's take it easy because you're from the minors. Stop it. I agree. I totally agree on that. At least found something to agree on.
But I got to call out your boy Slavkovsky for pulling Riffai's hair in a fight, but then he got one punch, so it worked out okay.
Well, listen, I was happy that Slavkovsky got into it because he's not a fighter.
But he's a hair puller?
I don't know.
That's elementary school shit, man. That's stuff you do with the girl you like. You pull her hair because you don't know how to express yourself.
I think it was because he doesn't know how to fight. That's what I thought. So I'm giving him all props because he got challenged. And he's, okay, it didn't look, aesthetically, it didn't look great. But the fact that he stood up for himself is good enough for me. Because the guys are going to start taking shots at him now because he's got the potential for 40 goals. So people he's got a name on his back.
Nice is going to beat him to 30, but it's okay.
Oh, we'll see. We'll put a bet on that. I bet you Slavkovsky scores 30 before.
We already have a bet on that.
Okay, good. I just want to make everybody in the house hear that when Slavkovsky scores 40 goals this year. You heard it here first.
Well, 40, that's a little high.
Oh, we're going to see.
So we mentioned Jack. I getting the misconduct 3 days later for hitting Stützle. He left his feet on that play too.
He did leave his feet a bit.
He left his feet. It doesn't. You did.
I'm going to go home and look at it again.
And then he lost the fight to Brady Tkachuk.
Well, Brady came in like that was kind of a bushwhack too. I'd like to see him square up. Brady came in. By the time Aberjacki knew what was going on, it was trouble. You know what I mean? Let them square off face to face and see it. I don't want to fight Brady Tkachuk anyway.
No.
Like, you're nuts. You see the size of that boy?
He's a big boy.
Yeah, and Aberjacki's...
He's got daddy's size.
Yeah, and Aberjacki's a big boy, and he looks small when they went up against him. Like, Aberjacki's what, 210, 220?
Yeah, he's a big boy.
Yeah, but look at him beside Tkachuk. That's a man mountain.
Yeah. And,
but that was deserved, too. Like, we want to talk about how the game was played.
Sure.
Aberjacki made his play. Someone came to the defense of him. That might have happened in the opposite situation, but Aberjacki knew it was coming. You know what I mean? He tried to get his gloves off as fast as he could, but didn't work out for him as well as he thought. But he stood up to it. That's what I'm talking about. He stood up. He knew it was coming. Let's go. Let's get it over. Now, I'm not advocating
those guys were also in a similar weight class.
Exactly. We'll give it there. But let's not advocate that.
No, absolutely not.
And I'll take back the pay-per-view statement.
But, I mean, Jack Guy doing two of those things in 1 week, you're putting the league, and if not the league, then especially the division on notice with plays like that. Everyone's going to pay attention to that.
I'm telling you now, he's going to get some questionable penalties due to his reputation. That's coming. It was like last night, when I was watching the game, some penalties I couldn't figure out and some penalties I could. There was a classic get even call, first game of the year, and I'm going, oh shit, here we go.
Here we go again.
Yeah.
Also, staying in the division, the Boston Bruins, Jeremy Swayman, Louis Gross, saga continues. Boston putting out a comment, or I guess it was the general manager putting out the comment there. He had 64 million reasons to sign back. Louis Gross snaps back saying that that's not true. There was never a $64 million contract on the table.
Something was on the table.
And according to Elliot Friedman, they are over $1 million apart per year.
That's trouble, and I don't give a damn because it's the Boston Bruins for starters. So let's get that right out of the way.
Although with Boston, they do have a little bit of wiggle room because they play their first 10, 11 games without any back-to-backs. So they can rely on Korpisalo for a little bit.
He's going to probably look pretty solid.
Well, behind that defense, yeah.
Yeah, it should be okay. The bottom line is That's the business of freaking hockey. And I hate Boston with a passion, as everybody knows. But their bottom line and the way they operate under the cap is obviously a successful formula, because look at their performance in the last 10 years. You know, that's all you got to look at. So I don't think that Boston's going to move from their bottom line. I think the guy, you're going to take it or leave it. Because look, they let Allmark go. Why? Because they didn't want to pay him.
Well, now that's looking like a little bit of a mistake.
Thank you very much. But which guy do you keep when you got two and you can't pay them both?
I mean, they should have figured out to pay one before letting the other one go, though.
Well, I thought that there was going to be, in my opinion, what's his name up there in the front office, big goal scorer?
Neely, president. I know Sweeney before with that comment that I mentioned.
Yeah, but then Sweeney and Neely are in bed together, so they're probably
president
saying,
GM.
So they're saying, that's the way it's going to go. So why would you get away from your operating procedure to satisfy one player when this is a team game? So I'm giving Boston credit for holding the line.
They gave Pasternak the bag.
We got to give someone the bag. That's
well, if Swayman's going, why is he but not me?
That's called the business of hockey. And I like Boston's bottom line. You can't deny it. The record shows this is what we've done, and this is where we've been successful. Montreal is trying to do that with their salary, that front-end loading of contracts, already trying to think about the salary cap. So it's smart business-wise, and the product on the ice has been successful. So I can't say they're not.
This is also a goalie that led the league in save percentage and goals against, basically.
I'm not talking about the man's talent, because I'd put him on my team at the drop of a hat. I'm just saying.
And they paid McAvoy, too, I should mention.
Okay, but they did.
So they paid a guy at forward. They paid a guy on D. He's like, hey, pay the goalie too.
Okay, so I'm going to go to the Andrew Milani School of Salary Cap, Puckpedia. And what do you say about goalies, bro?
Don't
End of story.
6.
So there you go. You can't stutter on that one. So that's all Boston's going with the Milani in theory.
So they must listen to the show.
Thank you very much. There you go.
Also, Utah's low concession prices. So I'm going to read these out.
Amazing.
The price for bottled water is $2. A box of popcorn, $3. Nachos, $3. Hot dogs, $3. And ice cream, $3.
They didn't tell you about the alcohol, though.
That's fine.
That's okay.
Well, it's Utah, so they're going to try and get you to not drink. So
you got a point there. But I think that's an outstanding move by the ownership with a new franchise to get people bums in the seats. Come on. And I heard that their ticket prices are probably one of the most reasonable in the league as we speak.
Makes sense.
So, we know the owner.
Ryan Smith.
He's not nobody's idiot, and he's fan-friendly because he's a big fan himself. So, huge shout-out to Utah for doing this.
And also shout-out to the GTHL for introducing their referee armband program. So, if you're a minor, essentially, like under 18 reffing, you get a green armband. And if you're a first-year ref, then you get an aquamarine color armband. It's just a message to the parents to tell them to lay off, which I think is great.
Okay, so this all came up, and it was coincidental last week. I want to shout out to my neighbor, Sylvie, my next-door neighbor. I forgot her boyfriend's name. However, he is a referee in the GTHL. It was an interesting conversation because I hadn't really met him before, and I had this on. And the first thing he said was, your neighbor, I thought it was pretty cool. What's up with the hoodie? I looked, I go, who are you? So that's how the conversation started. So it was the hockey chat went immediately, and he mentioned, oh, by the way, I'm a AAA referee in the GTHL. So the first thing I said to him is, do you wear an armband? He said, yes, I do, but I wear this one because they'll identify the fact that I have some experience. And he said it's ridiculous when you look at it from this point of view. That's just showing the lack of respect the referees get in the GTHL because of the corrupt people that run the team and the parents.
The parents, yeah.
That's just ridiculous. Now, he's only reffed 1 year, and he's already had one gross misconduct. We know what a gross misconduct is, okay? We don't have to explain that. So This guy's going out there to ref games, but people don't realize at that age level, if you don't have competent referees, how are you going to have a competent product and kids to learn on the ice? So we're going to tell the GTHL, get your shit together.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? Like it's to me, it's kind of a backward step that they got to put armbands on the referees just so they can pacify the idiots that are in the stands. That's ridiculous. And when you look at it from that premise, but how bad has it gotten that you had to go to that level? Come on, GTHL, smarten up.
I hope they really do.
shout out to all the referees out there that are doing a great job. You're all great skaters. You're making the game better. I hope that this armband thing disappears in a couple of years because the fans or the organizations will respect the fact that they got to respect the referees. Come on.
I think a lot more is going to have to change before that, but
it's ingrained now, buddy.
Yeah. We'll move this along to the NFL where we continue to know nothing about football. And apparently the experts know nothing either because all offseason, all preseason, tight ends are back. Tight ends are back for fantasy.
What?
Bullshit.
What? My number one, my second overall, or second pick because I'm in a keeper league, I took, what's his name from Jacksonville? He ain't even playing. What's his name, Evan? Yeah, he's not even playing. Now, this is a little bit early. I'm agreeing with you because the scoring's been down and defenses seem to have a little
No, but it's the same as last year, though. We're like tight ends. They'll get you like a couple points a game for fantasy, but like you can't rely on them to get you your win.
I'm going to disagree from this point. You got to watch the matchup. Look what happened with Conklin and the Jets a couple years ago. When you got a smart quarterback that knows what they're doing, the number one passing guy on Texas.
Okay, but like how many guys are like actually? How many guys are giving you consistent points at your tight end position?
Nobody. I think
there's like one guy that I saw.
Was it? I think it's a guy in Texas, isn't it?
Like Houston?
Houston guy. I think it's a Houston guy.
I don't think it was him.
Okay, so I'm going to tell you this much. Sam Laporta's numbers are going to go up. The guy in Buffalo, Schultz's numbers are going to go up. It's just a matter of time. It's always about the matchups. You know what I mean? So it's going to get interesting. I'm with you. I think it was a little bit overblown, and I was driving down that street myself.
Goddard's the only one that's been consistent. Him and Kittle.
Of course, Kittle. And I already said.
Other than that, tight end's been a wasteland.
Travis Kelce had his best game of the year, but I'm still going with the theory that I have. He's getting a little long in the tooth.
Yeah.
So
I'm sticking to my sandbagging argument. They're going to save it for playoffs.
Well, we shall see. We'll get along with that. One of the other things that's been a big subject to hear in the league this year, and I don't give a damn whatever it is, because your theory, if you told me about all sports, is the evolution of the game. Naturally, people get better through a variety of reasons: technology, training, nutrition, whatever. The big talk in the league this year is about what the kickers are doing. So shouldn't we be lauding the kickers? Like I love
a lot of 50-plus yard field goals.
I heard J.J. Watt give this stat the other day that blew my mind. Did you know that when he came into the league, that I forget the number of 50-yard field goals that were kicked for the season has already been eclipsed in the first 4 games this year. Going back to his rookie season, that's okay.
So when did he come into the league? Like, 07?
Yeah, something like that, around there. So, but my question is this. That guy on Dallas screwed us up when he didn't make that kick, so he didn't cover the spread, the dumbass. But the bottom line is that guy's kicked a 61-yarder this year. Can't we commend the kickers for advancing their game to a point where you can boot it as far as you can? No talking about adjusting the field goal to making them narrow and all this other freaking video game nonsense that I've been hearing coming up.
Video game nonsense.
Whatever. The running the numbers up or whatever they're saying. If the kicking is it's called football. It's a significant part of the game. If your kicker
it's called football because the ball's a foot long, isn't it?
I don't know. We could get 1,000 reasons to get into that. But in any event, my take on it is this. I'm lauding every kicker in the league that can boot it 55 yards on a consistent basis. First of all, it changes the complexity of the game. And another thing is they're going to have a kickoff change next year. Because these guys they're that good. They're blasting it out of the thing. I don't like the idea of changing. Well, you got to come out to the 35-yard because then you get back to video game shit because you're just going to roll up the score. I don't know what they're going to do. Maybe what they should do is move the kicker back so it goes into that run back zone.
Yeah,
maybe that would be there with the same lineup it is there, because did you see a couple kickoffs? Teams are starting to figure it out. If you get your guy to get on the one side, you get the run block because everyone's not moving slow and the guy's flying, shit could happen.
Someone's got to tell Shaheed on New Orleans how to handle it.
There you go. But I'm all for the kickers. And if Pat McAfee's listening, he's going to love me because he was a kicker.
Punter. He was a punter.
But in any event, punters and kickers. Last guy you think about on the team, at times you're most important.
Absolutely.
You know?
Want to jump into our power rankings?
First of all, I know you want to take a look at some of the things that happened last week.
Okay, we could do that first.
We'll take a look. What caught your eye last week in week number 4?
The Falcons beating the Saints with that last-second field goal. 58 yards by Koo, sticking with our...
End of story. Yeah. End of story, and they knew it. Now, what's going to happen is that...
and Shaheed basically threw that one away in the first play of the game there. That was the difference.
Of course it was. He missed 2, didn't he?
Shaheed? Or Koo are you talking about?
Yeah. He missed 2 early. They should have put the game away. What's interesting is there's always narratives and storylines in football. It's like a drama. It's like a soap opera because they come out once a week.
Sure.
One of the storylines has been Kirk Cousins coming back from his Achilles.
Well, soap operas run every day, though.
That's true, but okay, this is a weekly soap opera. But in any event, let's give a shout out to Kirk Cousins because now he's come back with 2 games.
Yes, absolutely. Talking about the Thursday night game as well. They beat Tampa Bay in overtime.
There you go. And
509 yards passing.
And the Philadelphia game on Monday night.
Yeah.
So is he becoming primetime Kirk instead of no primetime?
Well, that was afternoon.
Whatever the
case.
Sorry.
You're talking about earlier in the season, excuse me.
Primetime game.
Yeah.
They're both primetime games. That's the thing. Which gets back to me saying at the beginning of the year that the weirdest division in football is the NFC South. And now we're going into week 5 and suddenly...
Everyone's back even, basically.
Yeah, and if New Orleans wins this week, it should be interesting. Another thing that's caught my eye, and I thank God I've got him on my fantasy team, but it's still only a 4-game look at. The talk about Jaden Daniels on Washington is insane, even though he's played spectacularly.
What talk's insane?
Every other quarterback that started as a rookie is looking rough, and he's come in and done his thing. Now, the guy that does Thursday Night Football with Al Michaels, what's his game? Bernhard?
Yeah.
Check on YouTube his rant about Jaden Daniels before the season started. This guy nailed it to a T. He said, everyone's going to be talking, forget every guy. He wrote off Bo Nix. He wrote off Caleb Williams.
Caleb Williams. Caleb with a K.
Caleb with a K. Who else did he write off? The guy that got hurt, my Michigan boy. He goes, no. Talk to me halfway through the season, and the guy we're going to be talking about is Jaden Daniels. Great call on his part because the guy's looking...
Fantastic.
He's unbelievable. And his deep ball is amazing. The tricky thing about him is the way he gets it away from hits. But what made him the number 1 guy on your team, when you when you come in the dressing room, you got to do something, get your team to know who you are.
Yeah.
When he threw that one in the corner to McLaurin to touchdown to go ahead,
McLaurin
game, did you see the hit he took to get rid of that ball? Every guy on the team went, whoa, that's our guy. Because sometimes you got to take a hit to make a throw, and he's not the biggest guy in the field. So he's one of the number 1 talks in the league, but I think Washington's going to come back to earth really quick.
I think they could get Devontae Adams, though.
I like the greatest rumor going around, and that's why I hate the internet, but I love it. Did you hear the craziest rumor of all?
Which one? That he's going to the Cowboys?
She ain't going to Cowboys.
No, I don't think so either.
The craziest one is Oakland is in transition. Vegas is in transition. So they're going to have to pay 2 guys. They're going to have to, because their contracts are going to be coming up. Devontae Adams and Max Crosby. So if they're not going to be doing anything as a team, why don't they get some picks? Oh, by the way, there's a team in the NFC North that's got picks, and they got a good backup quarterback that they're going to try to steal. So the craziest rumor I heard is Devontae Adams and Max Crosby going to the Detroit Lions for 3 picks and Hayden Hooker, the backup quarterback.
Does Detroit have the cap space for both of them?
What's that?
Cap space.
They'd cut a couple guys. They said they could work it out. They could cut a couple guys. Now, I don't...
Because Washington has the cap space comfortably.
They're the only one in the team that could do that comfortably. I'm just saying that it's just internet clickbait.
I don't believe he's going to Detroit.
What a move that would be. I mean, if we got Max Crosby and we got Devontae Adams, we're Super Bowl contenders. Number 1, we
Super
moved
Bowl
to
favorites.
Favorites right to the top the way it is, because Detroit's still not hitting on all cylinders, even though we should get to the game where they're saying there's no scoring. Sometimes when Seattle meets Detroit, the pinball machine goes off. You know what I mean? Hell of a game.
In complete opposite ends of Monday Night Football, we have that game, which was amazing to watch, back and forth scoring, and then the Miami-Tennessee one, which was a snooze fest.
Were they playing in mud? What were they doing? But that's just telling you, already, look at this game. The top 30 programs this year, ratings on television, 28 of them have been NFL games.
Usually how it goes.
And isn't that amazing? And you got a shit game like that on Monday night, Monday night doubleheader. Terrible game. And then you go to Thursday game and you get another.
Hold on. Let's keep it Monday night. Jared Goff's perfect game. I'm surprised you don't want to talk about that.
Oh, I got all kinds of things to say about it, but Goff was just a technician. I'm just saying that we're not using Laporta enough, and our play selection's kind of weird. But we did it well on Monday night. Because what we should be doing, we should be a power run team first, which set up Goff in the paper.
And Montgomery, right?
Best tandem in the league. I think what really set them up was the play action. And you know what? He spread it around the field, which made it good. But Detroit, well, we'll get to the power rankings soon. But great win on Monday night, highly entertaining game.
Yeah.
Which takes us to, I don't know what other game we're talking about, but we're talking a week ago. We're already making a parade in Buffalo. They go into the Baltimore, and shit happens.
That was an awful game for the Bills.
You know what happened? And I'm going to say this, and I hear a bunch of defensive coordinators. Another guy, if you want to hear talk about football, Mike Lombardi. Old school guy now. He's got a podcast. I've been starting to listen to this guy. He talks about nuances of the game that I don't even think of, and I watch a lot of football, but he puts it this way. One of the reasons that football has changed this year is they're playing the cover 2 deep with a double shell on the top. So if you got a really fast secondary, it's good for the coverage, but your guy's quick enough to come up and stop the run. Buffalo's front seven's pretty solid, but what happened was they got escaped into the secondary sometimes, and Henry got away. So all the teams, and Dallas is the big example of this, fast and quick, can't hit. Buffalo's got to tighten up on their back end, like aggressively wise, bigger wise, because the smaller secondaries in the leagues getting exposed to run games. And if you look at the numbers over the first 4 weeks, it's starting to be exposed. You know what I mean? Especially the teams. Another number that's come up really interesting too is that they were talking about it, how analytics get skewered. Oh, the teams that run the most usually have the best record. Oh, why? Isn't that?
Because they're already up in the game.
So when I heard this talking about it, I think it was J.J. Watt or someone else that just absolutely based it. Another guy named Shipley that used to play too were talking about it. How skewered analytics get with people in offices looking at numbers and telling you what's going on. What about the situation on the field?
Because usually there's analytics for close games too. I know they have that in hockey, where it's like they kind of count that separately. I'm sure in football they probably have something like that too, if it's within like 10 points or within 2 scores.
Okay, one of the numbers that came up in this, they said offensive line wins. Okay, what? First of all, O-line, number one thing in your football team. No O-line, you don't have a football team. We got that, okay? So if it's third down, they're counting your third down efficiency on blocking running plays. If a guy's got 1 yard and he dives over the 1 yard line, they equate that as the same guy coming through at 5 yards on third down.
Are you sure?
That's what I found out. The PPFs is it called?
Yeah.
Whatever it's called. That is the same metric.
Oh, well, we talked about this last year. That system's flawed.
Very much so. So that's my point again. Here at the house, it happens is analytics is not a tool, not the be-all and the end-all. And I've seen some football, which I'll bring up for the whole season, that are coming up that I think are bullshit.
Well,
numbers,
if these people really knew what they were talking about, they'd be working for a team and not for ESPN. So
no, but these are the guys from the actual place. It's not ESPN. This is the that what do they call it? The bank of people, like the Puckpedia group in the NFL. Whatever they do with numbers.
Again, if they really were the best at what they did, they'd be working for a team.
Interesting point. I'm just saying that I
100% believe that.
Okay, and I'm not going to argue with that.
This is a way to break things down for the fans.
Okay, I got it. Okay, but when you keep transferring that on the field, what you're forgetting about is the momentum of the game, situational football, who's hot and who's not. Analytics cannot justify that in the heat of the game. Certain situations probably,
No,
but
I agree. But like, who's doing that?
Skewed. What's that?
Who's doing that?
What I'm saying is that this group of people who ever make these numbers in the NFL, they never put that in their equation. They just put the flat up, the number, the guy ran this far in this situation, so it's all equal. Well, you know what? Sometimes when you stack it up against the line and you got Henry and you stack it up the line and you got something different is going to come from 1 yard. So I don't know how they balance the numbers. That's my take on it. So I'm of this view. Eyeball test is still the number one look for me in context of the game. Before the game, sure, set up your analytics, set up your scheme, set up your game plan. But in any game, hockey, football, basketball, situations happens. It goes back to the old thing, the Mike Tyson quote, got a game plan till you get punched in the face. And what I'm saying is that analytics is a tool. I'm getting a little bit tired because it's coming in hockey too,
Well, it's been in hockey, but mind you, can still, but analytics can still tell you what to do in situations like that too. So,
sometimes you got
it's just about situational awareness.
Okay, so I'm going to say this: if this guy's the hottest guy in the field, but your analytics says you run this play, what would you do?
Well, I think it's a little bit more complex than that.
No, it's about that level. When you're on the field at that particular time, coach got to make that decision. That's why.
But I think it's more nuanced than just like run this one play at this time. I don't think it's like that.
Okay, well, I'm going to give you the prime example. The guy that takes the most beating in the league is Dan Campbell, MCDC of Detroit. Why? Because he takes situations that get away from analytics.
It's gotten him in trouble before, especially in the NFC Championship.
Okay, I'm going to say it did happen, but we've done it less this year, and you're making fun of Detroit making trick plays.
I'm not making fun of Detroit. I'm worried for you guys.
I'm not worried if it works out. The other team tries it. If you know when to do it, it's called
Cruz. This is week 4. This is week 4 of the season. What's going to go on in the NFC Championship game again?
Well, wait till we'll get there.
Dan Campbell. I'm going to say it. Dan Campbell's not going to win a Super Bowl with you guys.
Okay, I'm going to argue with that because how many times
he's going to fuck up again in the playoffs? I'm calling it.
Okay, well, I'm not because we've slowed down on some of that.
I hope you're right. I hope you're right.
So what was wrong with the pass to Goff?
It was goofy. Why were you doing it at that time?
Well, it got a touchdown, didn't it? Last time I seen it at the end of it, I seen the ump put his arms up. That's good enough for me. And how many other people have talked about that? We talked about the most famous game. Brady makes that catch, they win. Foles makes the catch, they won. That's what I'm saying. I'm not saying that trick plays are the be-all and the end-all of a game.
It's too many with Campbell, though.
We've slowed it down this year. We haven't gone as much.
You're still seeing a lot of it.
All those trick plays have worked this year so far. So I'm going to.
That's the caveat.
But one of the things that we haven't done is we haven't gone crazy on fourth down as much as we have. And we still have the highest percentage of win rate on fourth down in the NFL. So I'll go with that. You know what I'm saying? I'll look at it that way. But that's just one of the nuances of the game that's going on this year that's become a constant argument. When do you do it and when do you don't? What's your scheme? Who's in the back? Who's injured? Blah, 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 blah. You know what I mean? So, like I said, I'm not the front page of the analytics, and I want the tool beside me during the game. But my eyeballs sometimes are going to tell me what to do, not analytics. That's all.
Fair enough.
You know? Any other games that came across your mind last week that got your attention?
A few, but we're slowly starting to run out of time here. I think the Rams are done.
I hate to say it because they got no one to
Their defense sucks.
Oh, their back end is crazy. And Stafford's playing his ass off. Like, you see Stafford out there? I'm still saying this. He's still going to be a top 5 quarterback in this league this year.
But having no Nakua, no Cup, that definitely hurts.
He's still hitting guys. He threw for 250 yards last year.
Sure, but that hurts like what you can do offensively, right?
Oh, 100%.
It definitely limits
I
it.
think that what would happen is if they had those guys there, it would take the pressure off the defense because they would have a little bit more scoring. But I'm disappointed in the Rams, too. They were one of my sleeper picks this year.
I had them in the playoffs.
Yeah, and this year it's not looking
I think you
good.
had them winning the division.
I think I did. I thought they were a sleeper. But that just tells you who's in the division. San Francisco is not the runaway team of that division that we thought it was. And they better tighten up on what they're doing with their roster. Now, one of the things that come up here, and I wanted to bring this up as a fan, sometimes when we hear stuff that's going on about players, I hate to be bullshitted. Okay, so let's just discuss the Christian McCaffrey going to Germany to get his treatment. Or they got a specialist in Germany. Bullshit. We know what they're doing. Taking human earth.
Allegedly.
Okay, allegedly. It's not been proven in court. Let's talk about what's going on here, bro. You're going over there because they're doing shit that's not been allowed to be legal yet in North America. So what is that?
Allegedly.
Allegedly. But if you're Von Miller, guess what happens? You go home for 4 games. Which is another thing that's going to hurt Buffalo this week because he's been playing some of his better football since he got to Buffalo. My point is this. If you're going to go in there and you're going to get the extrinsical force from some kind of animal blood, then you're going to juice it full of steroids, and then you're going to pump it into a human being, that's going to probably make them better, and that's better living through science. I get it. So why don't you say you're going over there to do that and try to tell us, well, we got a specialist. You don't have a specialist in North America? Got to go to Germany? Stop it. You're going to go.
They know a guy.
What?
They know a guy.
They know that knows a guy. That knows a guy, right? Stop it. What you're going over there is you're circumventing the leagues in the rule. Why is Christian McCaffrey going to be out for 4 games now? Or 2 more games that they're saying? Is because you got to flush the stuff out of your system. So when you come back and get tested in the NFL, they go, oh, all's good. The treatment worked good in Germany. We know it's happened before. Who? Let's give some of the candidates. Kobe, number 1. Shaq apparently did it. 2 soccer players, I forget their names, of high-end guys have done this. So don't fool us. If you want your player to play and you got to send him to Europe, we understand what you're doing. Don't tell me it's...
Yeah, but it's illegal, so they're not going to tell you that. You can't just say that if this is the truth.
Okay, then it's all alleged. So this is Cruz talking out of his ass, but I'm just saying, from my point of view, I won't get fooled again. We know what you're doing. Just say it, okay? That's all.
Well, they can't just say it. But so the Bears beat the Rams. Vikings escape Green Bay with the W in a thriller. Green Bay,
one of the best games of the week.
Too little, too late from Green Bay, but Jordan Love was spectacular there.
Yes, he was.
Houston defeats Jacksonville, sends them to 0-4, only 0-4 team in the league. Colts hand the Steelers their first L of the season. Broncos slip past the Jets. I told you the Broncos would cover in that one.
You know what the main thing about that is? The Jets are not the team that we think they are, and they're going to play.
I told you guys that at the beginning of the season.
No, what it is there's something that seems to be going on internally.
Rodgers and Salah, again, I told you.
They're having more trouble than it appears to be. Just a press conference after the game.
You know what Rodgers should have done? He should have pulled the Favre 2.0 move and gone to Minnesota.
That would have been interesting. But the bottom line is the weather played a huge factor in that game.
Doesn't matter. Broncos played in the same weather conditions. They found a way to win.
Point well taken. I just thought that 3 drop balls... There was a lot of little circumstances that made Rodgers look bad. I thought they would pull it out. I thought they'd even cover the spread, obviously, but maybe Denver's a little bit better with Sean Payton getting them moving along quicker than we realized.
Maybe.
Yep.
Eagles looking fraudulent with another loss, this time at the hands of the Buccaneers.
I can't figure out the Buccaneers. Okay, I did take the Falcons only because they were
home division game.
Home division game on a Thursday night with a low spread, but Tampa Bay looked better, the better team most of the time. I'm thinking this much. When
it was a tight back and forth game.
Oh, it was a great game, but I'm saying Atlanta's defense is looking at they're a work in progress. I think that they're going to end up winning the division like I predicted because of the back end. And they've got enough offensive weapons and a good old line. And you got Kirk Cousins, the best game manager in the history of football. So it should be interesting.
Power rankings?
Okay, let's get to the power rankings. You want to let me give you mine first?
Do you have them ready?
Of course I do.
Okay.
Just give me a second here. My personal assistant, I gave him Saturday off. So I couldn't get around to everything I was doing. Okay, my power rankings. Starting at number 5, the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
Number 4, the Baltimore Ravens.
Oh, okay.
Number 3, my beloved Detroit Lions. Number 2, the Minnesota Vikings, which I hate to say, God bless you, son, 4-0. And number 1, you can't take away from the Super Bowl champions, even though they have had 3 sketchy wins out of 4. I'm going to go to the Milani school that says good teams find a way to win. And Kansas City Chiefs, defending champions, at 4-0 in the league. I got to put them at the top just for that.
So our lists are very similar, which makes things very boring.
Okay.
My number 5, I have the Pittsburgh Steelers. Number 4, I got the Buffalo Bills.
Okay.
Number 3, I got your Detroit Lions.
Yep.
Number 2, I got the Kansas City Chiefs. So number 1, I got the Minnesota Vikings.
Minnesota's defense is absolutely ridiculous, okay? Which is another silly stat I heard. If you've got if you're a top 5 sack team, then you probably have a winning record. What? When I heard that come out, I had to rewind and hear that again. I just said, gee, tell me something I don't know. Like, is that not a ridiculous?
Let's not forget, not everyone is as well versed in football as you. Okay. There's some beginner fans out there. Not everything's aimed at you. Don't take everything so personally.
I'm trying not to. But when I hear something like that, something to come out of the TV like that, I'm going, okay, you know what I did? I turned down the sound and put on the music. I do that a lot. Like, if the announcers just start irritating me with shit that they say, I just go, damn it, put on the Soundgarden record. You know what I mean? And I'll just watch. You know the players, you know the game, you know the schemes. Now, like, something's going on, you turn it on. But a lot of times I just hit that freaking, or start playing my guitar louder when I'm watching. Because I understand it. It's a learning thing, and there's so many nuances about football that I don't even know. You know what I'm saying? Like I said, I'm getting to the point now where I watch games and I just watch the O-line and D-line. That's all I watch, to see what they're doing, for the breakdowns, what happens, who's really good, who isn't it. One of the guys I've been watching, and I don't know why he's not a beast, is that Carter guy on Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. This guy, one game, is a complete animal. The next game, where is he? You know what I mean? So there's a lot of things to understand. Schemes, who they're playing against. Are you doing a zone block? Are you running straight downhill? Are you spreading the defense? There's a lot of things to learn. But those over-the-top Wow, did you just say that? Comments make me crazy. Absolutely. And I got to shout out to Minnesota, though. Their front four is just insane. They've already drafted the last couple of years for their back end. So now it's all coming together for them. Now, question is, who has Minnesota played so far? Well, they played Green Bay.
Green Bay.
Okay, you're going to start like this. Let's go back to the Bill Belichick theory of what? You beat the team that's in front of you. If you're 4-0, you beat 4 NFL teams. Regardless, we'll talk about that later in the seasons because then analytics people will bring up, well, they played this.
Well, they
game.
also killed Houston at home.
That was a great game there. I'm still not if you look at it, my top, I had a couple of teams on the outside looking in.
They beat San Fran. So, I mean, their wins have been impressive.
Well, the two teams that were on the thing there, and that San Fran hasn't impressed me completely yet. But I had my top 5, but the two sitting on the outside looking in, 3 actually. But I'm not sold on Pittsburgh yet. I'm sold on the defense, but we're going to wait and see. Look at last week. They lost to Indy in Indy. And I called that one.
Yeah.
But this week it's going to be even more interesting. Who do they? Well, we'll get to that.
Well, yeah. So ready to do our picks now?
Yes, we are.
All right. So first we got to start in jolly old England with the New York Jets at the Minnesota Vikings.
After everything that we have said about right now, who are we taking?
Minnesota's favored by 2.5. You know I'm going with the Vikings.
I'm going with them too, but I'm already killing myself because I think Aaron Rodgers is undefeated in Europe.
Well, all good things must come to an end.
Thank you very much. I'm taking the Vikings too.
Miami at New England. New England favored by a single point at home. I'm going to take my Patriots.
I took them too because if you see the quarterback play going on in Miami, Tyreek Hill is losing his mind. Waddle's smoking weed in the side.
I traded Waddle in one of my leagues.
Yes, I got him too, and I'm just going home. Miami's a mess. I feel sorry for the coach. You know what I mean? That just tells you the significance of a quarterback.
Yep.
Eh? Take away one guy.
Oh, I know.
Game over.
Carolina at Chicago. Chicago favored by 4 points at home. I'm going to take the Bears.
I'm taking the Bears too, but I'm scared because
Me too.
I'm very scared.
I took Chicago.
Only because what has happened here, and one of the typical things that analytics will prove is if your defense is on the field more than it should be, eventually a team's going to get to you. Carolina's got a modicum of defense. Now that the Red Rifles out there throwing the ball around, the defense isn't on the field as much, and they're going to be more effective. What's Caleb Williams? Caleb, whatever his name is. What's that guy doing throwing the ball 52 times in a game?
I don't know.
As a rookie.
Yeah, I know. I question that.
So that's why I'm taking the Bears, only because it's at home. If I get my ass kicked on this pick, I'm not going to be surprised.
Indianapolis at Jacksonville. Jacksonville's favored by 3 points at home. I don't know how. I'm going to take the Colts.
No, I'm taking Jacksonville all day. No Jonathan Taylor. Anthony Richards is a questionable. They got a.
That's okay. They got Joe Flacco. And they got a competent backup running back, so I don't think their running game's going to hurt that much.
Their O-line is pretty good. I'm looking at it this way. The Jags showed up last week. That was a hell of a game that they lost to Houston. This game's at home. Their season is in peril. They're not going to make the playoffs probably anyway, starting off 0-4. But they'll be no more. They'll be a 1-win team. Colts aren't that good. You look at their record.
I think the Colts are pretty good.
I thought they were better. I was on their bandwagon with them and the Tennessee guys. What has that got me? Okay, so I'm taking the Jags at home for first win of the year.
Buffalo at Houston. Buffalo favored on the road by a single point. I'm going to take the Bills.
I'm taking the Bills too. I think it's their back end because you know what? We were talking about that cover ending. Houston doesn't have a big run game. Joe Mixon's been okay, but he's not
going to play.
Yeah, so that when you take that away, they got the other guy who's pretty good. I'm saying that with Ed Oliver in that line. On Buffalo, beast.
Yeah.
Like he's getting there. So I'm taking Buffalo.
Baltimore at Cincinnati. Baltimore, the road favorites, 2.5. I'm going to take the Bengals.
I'm saying that this is going to be
this is a must-win game for Cincinnati.
But it's a statement game. Like when Baltimore had Buffalo come into town and they were under 500, they're going to show up. I think the defense is good enough. I think that Cincinnati's defense is a shambles. Don't say anything about Cincinnati losing because of Joe Burrow. It's top five passer in the league this year. It's that defense is terrible.
That's the problem.
And Zach Taylor is supposed to be a defense guy, their head coach, so they got to be tightening up. I think it's going to be close, and I think what's going to happen is at the end of the game, you're going to see Derrick Henry running it down to win the game.
So you're going to take Baltimore?
Yeah, I'm taking Baltimore.
Okay. Cleveland at Washington. Washington favored by 3.5 at home. I'm going to take the Commanders.
Well, we have to. See, we're all getting tricked. This is why we're going to have shit picks. 5 upsets come and we look like idiots. There should be no reason why Washington shouldn't win this game. With the disarray of Cleveland's offense, Deshaun Watson's look like, I don't know. And what's their name? Myles Garrett has been playing injured. Their secondaries look suspect. Jaden Daniels has been looking like freaking Joe Montana. So, and Washington's defense is vastly underrated. They're top 10 D after 4 games. So at home, I think this is the opportunity for them to go. And not only that, this will make them a contender to win their division.
Sure, absolutely.
They're 3-1. If they win today, they'll be 4-1. That means Dallas is behind them. Philadelphia's on a bye.
So we need to hurry this up because we only have 10 minutes left. Vegas at Denver. Denver favored by 3 at home. I'm going to take the Broncos.
Broncos at home?
Yeah.
I'm taking Vegas for the upset.
Okay. Good luck to you there. Arizona at San Francisco. San Fran favored by 7 points at home. I'm going to take Arizona to cover.
For who?
Arizona at San Fran. I'm taking Arizona to cover 7 points.
I say they win by 15.
Okay.
Taking them all day.
After you just said, wait, Arizona you said is going to win by 15?
No.
San Fran?
San Fran's going to.
After you just talked about them not being convincing.
It's Arizona. Did you see them last week? How were they competitive the first 2 weeks? I don't get it. They looked absolutely terrible last week.
I think they got some good weapons. I think it's going to keep it close.
I think maybe the coaching there, they got to do the tightening up because they got players.
Yeah.
They got a team, but San Francisco's got to make the statement like, we don't want nobody on our ears. And they got Seattle, who's already up in front of them.
Yeah.
So I'll take that.
Giants at Seattle. Seattle favored by 7 points at home. I'm going to take the Seahawks, especially since no Malik Neighbors in this game for the Giants.
All day. That should be your suicide pick. Anybody out there?
Green Bay at the Rams. Green Bay favored by 3 points on the road. I'm going to take the Packers.
Okay, so you see my little sheet here? I had the Rams and scratched it out and said, what am I thinking? Okay, sorry, Matt Stafford.
Dallas at Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh favored by 2.5 at home. I'm going to take the Steelers.
I'm taking the Cowboys all day because the Steelers don't have enough offense. Micah Parsons is not playing. I think this is going to be a game that's going to be higher scoring than people realize because everyone's going to talk about how great the Pittsburgh defense is. And wait till Dak's going to come out slinging.
I don't think so. In Pittsburgh?
In Pittsburgh, he's going to come out sleek. And then I think this is one of those times when Dallas seems to win. I'm going with my gut instinct.
Okay. New Orleans at Kansas City. Kansas City favored by 5.5 at home. I'm going to take the Chiefs.
All day. So we're pretty well on the same board for most of the games.
Yeah, only 3 picks there different.
I took the Raiders. I had the
5
Broncos
points
down
there
here,
different.
but I'm changed it. Originally I had the Broncos. But I got a funny feeling about the Raiders. They're going to rally around the fact that Devontae Adams is fucking up the dressing room.
Okay.
Alrighty.
We'll move this on to Major League Baseball, where we will first of all give our condolences to the family of Pete Rose. Died at 83.
Pete Rose is one of the greatest enigmas in the history of baseball. When I was growing up as a kid, Charlie Hustle was the guy. The Big Red Machine was the game. Then he went to Philly and got to there with his old teammate, with Joe Morgan and Mike Schmidt. One of my favorites play in the All-Star game, which you'll never see again.
I had no idea he played with Montreal, too.
Oh, yeah, that was at the end. He come up. He was just trying to make money because he's a money guy.
But then he came back with the Reds as a player manager.
Yeah, well, that's out his career. And the reason why he's got the stigma. I'm going to say one thing about Pete Rose. He is obviously the hits leader of all time. Everybody would want him on their team. But if you talk to some guys in the dressing room back in the day with Cincinnati, Pete Rose was not their favorite player. He has a number of character issues besides gambling that's going to fray.
Why do you always got to take it this way when someone dies, man? Come on.
Okay, I'm going to tell you what they're talking about. Why did he have to leave Philadelphia? Why did he want to stay in Cincinnati for a career? Because he had Johnny Bench. You can't get along with Johnny Bench. That's what I'm bringing up. I'm sorry about your character flaws, but if you can't get along with Johnny Bench, what's your issue? So anyways, to a great career, my call is this. Pete Rose was not what you'd call a flower child. And I think what's really going to happen in about 10 years, everyone's going to get sympathetic and they're going to put him in the Hall of Fame. And I think that's a sin because they were never going to let him put him in the Hall of Fame when he was alive.
He's the all-time hits leader, though. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Should have been there a long time ago. He bet on his own team. This is 1919. I understand why baseball's so hardcore about it. He bet on his own team. Okay,
he lied about it.
That's the big thing. He lied about it. But when he gets in the Hall of Fame in 5 or 10 years from the Veterans Committee, I'm going to poo-poo that because you just didn't want him to be able to see it when he's alive. But God bless Pete Rose, maybe top 10 player of all time.
Absolutely. Also, there's a civil suit for Ohtani's 50-50 home run ball. One of the silliest things. Yeah,
insane.
First of all, if you're just so much of a freaking get rich quick guy where you got to physically stop a guy from getting that ball because I got to get to it first so I can get the fuck you. Just fuck you. That's all I'm going to say.
Every time you add humans, you have a problem. Which you want to talk about the absurdity. Did we mention this last week about the guy that got fined that got busted taking $22 million away from Jaguars, and now he's suing FanDuel and another betting site.
Let's not even go there.
That's the absurdity. We're talking about people and money and ball and bullshit. I put them in the same category. You know what I mean? The kid caught the ball. The guy grabbed it. It's going to be a lawsuit. Stop it. America at its worst.
Terry Francona will be back managing this time with the Cincinnati Reds after a brief 1-year retirement.
Wow. Wasn't he going to be seeing his family and worried about his health?
I guess he's fine now.
Gee, did he go to Germany to have that treatment?
Oh, get out of here.
I'm shocked that he was back. When you seen him last year when he was leaving Cleveland, I thought he was walking through the field of dreams back into the cornfield. And now he's suddenly coming back. What went on in Cleveland? And they still won the division.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Maybe it was just like a health thing and he got it, maybe
I hope so, because I love Terry Francona and I think he's great for the game.
One of the greatest managers of all time.
I agree.
Blue Jays firing hitting coach Guillermo Martinez after 6 years.
So what?
Maybe you should fire another one of the 48 that they have.
Did you watch the press conference?
Yeah, let's not go there.
Okay.
I don't think we have enough time to cover that.
Okay, all right.
Ricky Tiedemann won't be back until late 2025.
Oh, my God.
I'm worried the Jays will do the wrong thing and go after guys like Santander and Pete Alonso. Shapiro Atkins' press conference was just ridiculous.
It was stupid. It was dog and pony show.
I think stay up all night thinking about the fans.
Shut up. Then lower the beer prices. Look at Utah. Give us a break. Stop it. That's stupid. I think we should go after the Adams guy on Milwaukee. He's a free agent. He doesn't know what he's going to do. He's a good player. I think we should go after him. I think we should go after Corbin Burns. There's 2 or 3 other, before we get to the end of the World Series, there's 2 or 3 other players out there that are on bullpen guys. I'm saying this, short-term overpay.
Yeah.
We can be the New York Mets. What were we talking about the New York Mets last year? Dumpster fire. They're in the playoffs now. I think they're going nowhere else, but we'll talk about that in a minute. Blue Jays, don't frickin' pull my chain.
So
either do shit and go to hell.
We only have a couple minutes left, so we're going to just quickly say the Tigers swept the Astros. The Royals swept the Orioles. Orioles, I know they're still young, but they're looking like they're chokers a little bit. The Padres swept the Braves, and the Mets beat the Brewers in the only game that went to Game 3 for the wild card in a nice little thriller.
Nice little thriller. That 9th inning is go down in history.
Amazing. I thought they were done.
Yeah, and then come up and Pete Alonso, who hasn't hit a fly ball since Jesus was a baby, rocks one out of the park. But the thing that made it was the Lindor leadoff walk.
Yep.
How he worked the walk. That's what got it going. I'm going to be going home today. Baseball starts at 1 o'clock. If you want to find me, I'm on my couch. People, playoff baseball is a lot of fun. A lot of chess games. The best game I'm finding that's combining analytics with eye test. Because a couple of managers have made some moves, like including Detroit, made some weird moves, and they all worked out.
Game 2 was a bullpen game,
and their closer came out and started the game, and he's won 8 games this year. Do you know he won 8 games and 8 saves? You know the last time that happened? 1969, Pat Dobson for the Baltimore Orioles.
There you go.
That's insane. Anyways, I'm calling this. If you don't know, I'm on the Tiger bandwagon.
Well, hold on. Let's save that for our picks.
Okay.
So we have the ALDS starting. I guess all 4 start today. ALDS series. First of all, Yankees Royals. I got the Yankees winning this in 4. I think the only game that they blow is whichever one.
Singer's pitching.
I was gonna say our boy.
Who's that?
Or your boy, Garrett Cole.
He starts today.
They lose game 1. They win the other 3.
I'm saying that I don't know why they pull out Gills because he's a rookie. I would have went with Gill.
He's going to pitch sometime.
Okay, I'm saying the Yankees are going to win just because of their history.
How many games?
It's a 5-game series. It's going 5.
Okay. Guardians, Tigers, a battle of AL Central teams. 3 AL Central teams still alive. They're just owning everything right now. I got the Tigers winning this in 5. I think the Guardians are good, but they've kind of fallen apart. Not really fallen apart, but just kind of like gone back to mediocrity since All-Star break. I believe they were like 42-42 or something since.
I'll take it one step further. Have you seen the Tigers bullpen since August? 2.11 ERA, switching guys around. They only got 3 guys who are going to start.
And AJ Hinch is like a
genius.
mad scientist. They're the pinch hitters and all that.
Oh, the way he works it in. And sometimes he does it on field. He brought in a pinch hitter the other night that all the analytics said no, and the guy got a hit. And I went, wow. But he did a good job in Houston. As we talked about before, he fell on the sword, got a new job. Detroit in 5.
I got Detroit in 5 as well.
Scooble's amazing.
Moving this to the National League, we got Dodgers, Padres, a big series that I'm looking forward to. Padres look like they could be the ones to take everything. I got the Padres winning this in 4.
I do too, and it's all going to be, it depends on tonight because they got Clee starting. Now, what really killed him is Musgrove's gone with the Tommy John. Like, that guy was one of the best pitchers when he came back. He's going to be gone for a year. If they had him, I would have said this would be a sweep because they got to use Flaherty the second game. They're starting off with who now? The first game, the Oriental guy. Anyways,
that's not so PC. Just say he's Asian.
He's Asian, whatever. I don't know. But anyways, I think the Dodgers are in trouble because a couple of their batters are banged up. It's great to see Ohtani in the postseason play, though.
Finally,
I'm taking the Padres. I'm gonna get to the point right away. New York Mets series was the 9th inning against Milwaukee. They going home maybe 3 straight.
Mets in 5.
Whoa!
Phillies have been looking very unconvincing second half as well. I don't believe in them.
I think they were coasting home. With those
That's
starters,
dangerous. That's a dangerous mentality to
and
take.
they've been sitting around for a week.
And meanwhile, the Mets have had to play their asses off like the last.
Oh, they've been playing well.
3 months, 4 months.
They've been playing playoff ball there, but I think they dodged a huge bullet against Milwaukee, and Philadelphia is a much greater team.
No, I think the power grimace is going to compel them.
You love that, don't you?
Oh, but
we know we didn't do. We didn't shout out to Snoopy's birthday.
Oh, it was Snoopy's 60th birthday. 60th birthday.
Whatever it is, 60. Next year he'll be 70. God bless Snoopy. In the house that happens, man, he's number one.
Absolutely. So I have Yankees, Tigers, Padres, Mets. You have Yankees, Tigers, Padres, Phillies.
Sounds very good. Wish we had a little bit more time for that. But you know what? For all the people out there that I know that do sports, and they commend you very much on your producing and that. They know I get good things about it. Mr. Milani is going to do more broadcasting as soon as we get here.
Yes, well, we have one more thing, though. Trivia. On this day in 1976, provided by Steven, of course. On this day in 1976, the Seattle Mariners and the Toronto Blue Jays begun their MLB journey with the expansion draft. Which players did they select with their first-round picks? Bonus if you can name the teams they were selected from. I want to say the Jays took a pitcher.
No, I think they took Joel Otto. No. They think could have been Mark Baumbach. Could have been Ernie Witt. That very first team? No.
In the expansion draft.
I think they took Jim Clancy.
Who, the Jays?
Yep.
No.
Who'd they take?
Outfielder Bob Baylor.
Oh, should I? You know what I was going to say? Yeah, I forgot Bob Baylor.
And then the Seattle, do you have the one for them?
Let me think for a second. That would be Seattle. He was a Latino player, I bet, right?
No.
I don't know.
Rupert Jones, another outfielder.
Oh, right. Rupert Jones, and he was looking like a star. They stole him.
Do you know what teams they took him from?
Philadelphia?
No.
No, Rupert Jones came from Philly?
No.
Cincy?
No.
Was he an American League guy?
Yeah.
Yankees.
Royals.
Rupert Jones was a good player for a minute.
And then Bob Baylor, you know where he was selected from?
Expos.
No.
Who?
Orioles.
Oh, good. He got out of that stinking, choking, losing operation. In any event, we'll be much more comprehensive about our baseball thing next
weekend. Yeah,
because we just have the time.
I gotta rush to.
He's got to get out of here. That's the way it is. We'll have the gospel coming to you too. It's just that when we have a guy as busy as Mr. Milani, pleasing a vast majority of listeners, we got to get him the hell out of here as quick as we can. Miss you already, buddy.
All right, buddy. Cruz, looking forward to Tuesday, our hockey preview show.
Yes,
do not miss that.
Steven will be there.
He will be there.
Okay.
My name's Andrew Milani.
And my name is Cruz.
What do?
We keep the vibe alive.
You can find The House That Happens on Podbean, Spotify, Amazon Music, iHeart Radio, Player FM, Samsung, Podchaser, Boomplay, YouTube, and SoundCloud. You can also follow us on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at The House That Happens, and follow us on Twitter at House Happens. You can also shoot us an email at thehousethathappens@gmail.com.